versions on Golden Swamp. I could see that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, Outcrop. What are you looking for on the side of Vinchester? Poles or Hindustanis?
I think it is Hindustanis, but it
Mayans
could be Poles. Yeah, Mayans. Yeah, will be tricky.
Well, we'll find out soon enough because we're into game one. Second set of the day here in the group stage for NAC4. It's TaToH in the blue playing as the Turks, Vinchester in the red playing as the Byzantines. So right out the gate, the Byzantines going to have plenty of strength with their fire ships if they do choose to go to the middle of the map. TaToH on the Turks, though, definitely suggests to me we're looking for a castle drop early in the center, perhaps control the gold and push through with Janissaries.
And this is not easy to defend, right? Especially if you invest into like fire galleys early on, like skirms isn't really an option against Turks, and I think it is really easy to die, and I will love to see the approach of Vinchester. Because if we go to the late game, we have to feel like Byzantines, they should be stronger. Like, their trash is crazy, they should get the better water control, and if it gets to, like, a trap war with some bombard cannons there without artillery, it should be better for the Byzantine.
Yeah, they're just way more flexible Civ, right? So I feel like, yeah, the later you go into a game, the more options you have. You can swap between techs as often as you please. Both players bringing up their first dock. Vinch will have his up just slightly before TaToH here. And, well, seems pretty standard so far. Obviously, you want to scout a bit more at home. Sometimes there are extra buffaloes pretty close next to your town center. Now, the 6 on wood here for Vinchester as well. That is kind of a boomy approach. Typically, we see 5 to contest water early on. This could be him maybe thinking about fast castling as well. Right, so sacking water early, perhaps, get to Castle Age, drop an extra dock or two, and then just out-tech your opponent. As the Byzantines. I don't dislike it, if I'm being honest.
Now the TC kill there, pretty smooth, pushes some more deer as well. And TaToH, he is one of the top players that probably scouts the most and the earliest and tries to figure out what the opponent is doing, but it's getting close to the town center.
Oh! Takes a big shot from the TC, half health on that scout already. Means that he's going to have to be careful for engagements going forward. Also means that his ability to harass the fishing ships of Vinchester becomes that less potent. Simply because if you bring your own scout over to defend, you know you're winning that 1v1.
Yeah, but Vinchester not chasing it down, right? So he wants to scout as well, wants to see, did you build a dock? Where did you build your dock? Is fast castle something I should be scared of?
Yeah, TaToH the first to click up after Loom. Loom coming in for Vinchester now, though. We'll assume that he'll drop a substantial amount of food as we see that food count jumping up just short of 500, and the click comes through for him as well.
Okay, so TaToH will contest the water then. Sends 3 on gold. Maybe it is his galley approach against fire galley. If Vinchester identifies that, he should actually build a front dock. But right now he's trying to arrest the fishing ships. I think this is the spot where you scout the gold and see, is my opponent maybe on berries or not?
Yeah, a little bit of harassment on the fishing ship. Now you can see he's pulling them away. He needs to get the scouting in on TaToH's base to figure out what exactly he's going for. Moves 3 to gold, now 4 to gold for himself as well, as we can see up at the top. So it will be a water battle.
Okay, and let's see what does Vinchester see right now, because he is going to the front, and we will take a good look at his vision. And he didn't scout a lot. Look at that, he only scouted 1 dock, and now he's going for the front anyways. Knows, okay, if it gets to the fire galley battle, that should be good for me. But still, no idea about the gold. And what is he scared of? He doesn't really know where TaToH lives even.
Yeah, it's interesting because he did not scout a single resource on the side of TaToH's base, as you mentioned. Dropping a forward dock, though, here, TaToH already has 2 docks down. Immediate galley production for TaToH. So choosing to avoid fire galleys, wants to mass.
But then again, short distance, right? Fire galley is so much better. In, like, just rule of thumb. 1v1, fire galley crushes a galley. 10v10. With micro, your 10 galleys are winning against the 10 fire galleys. But if the distance is that short, with that front dock, it's basically impossible to mess up those galleys. I like the opening for Vinchester here.
Yeah, onus will be on TaToH to keep those galleys alive as they pop out. He is following with 2 fire galleys, though, so I think he realizes having a bit of a meat shield is going to be important. Might just go look to snipe the fishing ships from the side of Vinchester here with these 2 galleys now moving forward. Does he know? He doesn't know about the dock at the front. Oh, that means his first fishing ships are already in danger, and they got hurt from earlier. And that should be a defense for one fire galley as well.
Yeah, 1v2, the fire galley should have no issue really pushing those away. And here we have it. The first fire galley out on the front along with the scout means that 2 fishing ships go down early for TaToH.
Oi, might lose those galleys after this as well. Fishing ships trying to save themselves. Let's take a look. Vinchester, that looks like a reasonable save. Low HP 1. Oh, TaToH gets a snipe.
So at the very least, TaToH does manage to snipe 2 fishing ships of his own, but he has very weak galleys. Now trying to retreat, perhaps back to a villager. Doesn't have one forward on those docks.
Okay. And now it's obviously tricky for Vinchester how he groups up his army, right? 1 dock at the front, 1 dock in the back. And TaToH, if he just produces out of both of them, might be easier to fight with full strength.
It's the Age classic, right? Forward building's great for aggression, but become that much more difficult to manage when the fight moves back to your side of the map.
Ooh, but a demo from the side.
Ooh. Will he find it?
Nice split. Oh,
Great split. Great split. A demo on a half health of fire galley means that Vinch now in the 2v1 gets control over here, and momentum's in his favor. Meanwhile, taking a look at the minimap, Walling back at home already, prepping himself for safety on one side of his base. TaToH now starting to drop farms.
1 barracks now. The question is, how does he play after this? Is he maybe thinking about an archer range? Obviously, Eco setup kind of invites to go for archers. You're already heavily on wood. Gold income faster for Turks as well, so he won't mind that. The thing is, though, are archers really the unit of your future? Typically not.
No, not so much. And at this point, you can see Vinch is just pincering around these different ships, galleys and fire ships from TaToH, taking a very nice military lead, now 5-2 on the water.
30 villagers for both, and donations are still flying in. Thanks, guys, for all your support. Let's take a look a bit at the food count. So it looks like 6 on farms, still getting some deer here, Vinchester, and we have 4 farmers here. Both players with really fortunate mills in the sense that they were next to deer and berries.
Definitely, but also producing 2 fishing ships tells me that Vinch feels comfortable with the advantage that he has on water. So looking to extend his eco lead by pumping out a couple fishing ships to aid that food eco. 18 on food with an equivalent amount of food in the bank definitely means that he would be quicker to Castle Age if we keep this pace. It's also just intriguing to me how safe he's playing the map already. With nothing built on land yet, he's already got half of his base walled up. So Vinch is locked in right now. He's looking good.
Ward left-hand side, controls water. Scout was at the right-hand side most of the time. Now Scout's the stable from TaToH, who is queuing up Scouts a bit to my surprise, and just spent a lot of wood as well behind this. TaToH is going for the market.
Market play for TaToH. Scouts, if he gets 3 out without Vinch being hyper aware of it, all that walling is for nothing if you don't complete it, and the Scouts get in and find a few snipes. But again, the water just looks ugly for TaToH. Plenty of pressure onto his 2 docks, looking to move a fire ship away, pull some of that pressure away. But
okay, TaToH now finished his market, is selling some resources. I think Vinchester just finished his market as well, so a bit later there with the timing. And well, no, it actually was a barracks there. Oh, he was really late with going for any military production. Just trusted his scouting so much.
yeah, very much so. And still only 12 food away from clicking up. TaToH already on the way to the Castle Age. Out with his scouts, and Vinch has seen this, though. And so won't be surprised by any kind of land aggression from this point forward, and has almost completed his walls there on the right-hand side.
Okay, what are the next steps of the players? Is Vinchester missing a second building? Barracks only just finished. He needs to rush. Oh, look at that. Goes for 3 villagers, squeezes in horse color, had to build another villager. He would have liked to be up already.
Yeah, that's about a difference of 40 to 60 seconds there on the castle timing for Vinchester. So able to click at this point. About a minute and a half total behind TaToH.
Okay, Scouts at the front here. Obviously not a great fight if fire galleys are joining the party. And TaToH, oh, I didn't even see all the villagers on stone.
Wow, 9 on stone. Yeah, he's bringing that in quickly. So, I mean, what did we talk about, right? Turks, they love to sit on a single castle Janissary play. And so very similar to the Nicov game. We could see him coming forward to drop a castle in the center of the map.
Yeah, and like Vinchester only has fire galleys, right? So TaToH can build this castle incredibly aggressively. Could even honestly consider building it in the center. Just go Hail Mary, send 15 villagers through, maybe 2-3 die, but you get all the gold control and a short rushing distance. And Janissaries are so good against ships.
Yeah, very much so. It is an interesting center island, right? Because it is very thin. But to your point, the lack of range there on fire ships would hurt Vinch in his attempt to contest it. Archery ranges now being dropped at home for Vinchester as Fletching and the gold mining upgrade come in, still 50 seconds away from Castle Age.
TaToH not rushing the castle. You saw him going for the TC before that one. Could have been one tile further forward, but no big difference.
Wow, very defensive castle. So did not feel like he had permission to run those villagers across to the middle. Wants to make sure he gets it up, can get the production of the Janissaries out. Still has 9 villagers on stone, though, so that tells me he's going to be looking to place another one not long after, perhaps in the center with a Janissary force to aid him in getting there.
TaToH is spreading himself really thin here. Also build a camel, also build a second town center, wants to go double castle, wants to also go for a monastery. I see a lot of idols TC coming.
Yeah, very low food count, 3 on food at the moment with only 38 in the bank. So not even, at least he has 3 villagers queued at the moment. And if he can get back on those farms, shouldn't be too bad. But as you mentioned, Janissary production is going to require food, so you really are stretching yourself thin here when it comes to the eco balance.
Elite skirmishes will be the answer from Vinchester. Obviously a great unit against it. Kind of needs ballistics though. Yeah, you're so heavily outranged, you need to close the distance, and then TaToH's trying to probably split micro away from that. But first camo already paying off from Vinch.
Couple camels out on the map, making sure he relieves the pressure from his walls. At this point, both players have plenty of scouting around the outside of the map, but it's full control in the middle for Vinchester, and that's going to be TaToH's challenge, right? Is how does he punch through the center of the map when your opponent has full control of the water?
Outposts are clever. He knows Demos could be around roaming at the waters and really doesn't want to basically lose the first push, right? If you're not watching for 10 seconds, Nemo comes in and you lose your first 6 Janissaries, that's all your aggression gone.
And what did we have on the player stats at the beginning, right? TaToH is the demo king, and part of being the demo king means you both know how to use them and how they can be used against you. So he's always got that top of mind and is protecting himself against that very early on. Sees the elite skirmishers coming forward, so he knows what Vinch has in response to those Janissaries. And we've definitely slowed down a bit here. We see the second TC going up for Vinch as well at home. So both players in lockstep right now when it comes to the eco count, 47-48 apiece.
Mixes in some crossbows with that as well. So Vinchester feels like full skirm commitment is not really what he needs. Maybe that camel and a scout could find a bit. Those 5 villagers a bit exposed.
Definitely, and the TC nowhere close to coming up, and so with nothing in defense, could possibly look for a Vill snipe or 2. He's at least going to force TaToH to take the fight with the villagers, and it looks like he will get 1 Vill for his troubles.
Well, okay-ish there. Both will take that trade. And TaToH, another building there. It feels like more outpost on water, and this one shouldn't really find too much. TaToH. Oh, that actually automatically repositioned the 1 Vill. It looked like he saw it, but I think the tree just...
Had just finished chopping a tree, right? Yeah, and repositioned. So good harassment on the wood line, but not going to find a kill. Still waiting to see that university come up and ballistics to follow. And that's where you can truly become a threat, even with skirmishers, right? When forward. Docks coming up for TaToH with the castle placed defensively, has a little bit of landscape to work with in order to drop those docks and start recontesting on water.
A bit of a late third town center for Vinci, maybe. Look at that, 8 villagers in the queue, still floating quite some food. Was not really pressured. Yeah, he commit to double archery range, a bit of stable units, and his fish obviously is not the greatest ever on this map. Still would have liked to see that 30C squeezed out a bit earlier.
Definitely. But as we said, I think if you're in this game state right now, 23 minutes in, essentially even an eco, we'd be happy in Vinch's position. We talk about how Byzantines, as we scale through the game, are going to love this matchup. And so, given the fact that TaToH didn't place an aggressive castle early on and take a lot of map control, I think Vinch would be pretty happy with where he's at.
TaToH opens demo, kind of the story continues. Now a fire galley behind this. Is Vinch trying to answer on water at all? Doesn't look like it. And looking at the resources, maybe wanted to play a long 2TC to get to Imp earlier.
There's the university coming up now. That'll be his second building as well. So we'll be able to click pretty quickly if he wants to, needs to get that gold count up.
That's why you don't see any more crossbows in the queue. Now the skirmishes are diving. Lightcap needs to help out.
Nice little cleanup there for TaToH while he'll lose a couple Janissaries to that. Has a demo out for himself as well. Going to be looking for an unaware pack of crossbows that wanders into the swamps. Also interesting, Nili, that he removed all of his villagers from stone.
At a weird
At a weird amount, which tells me, it goes back to the idea that he kind of miscalculated on his eco and realized he did not have the military forces to move forward for a castle. So having the stone for it becomes useless if you don't have the ability to place it.
Or just realize, okay, you go double archery range, your counter will be good enough. The second castle won't really be an option for me. Let's play Imperial Age. But he's rather far away from Imperial Age.
Yeah, we start to see the market use to get some of that gold for Vinchester. Still looking to clip, bringing villagers forward right now to drop a castle. Out of TaToH's vision at the moment, so TaToH unaware.
And this is one of the rare spots where I could see both players actually mining gold, right? The castle is so far to the north of that gold island, and TaToH has control at the bottom. Oh, this could be really interesting.
Yeah, I might argue that this is, too conservative of a castle placement. Of course, you don't know exactly whether or not your opponent themselves is up to imp, but with your click, I would imagine you want your castle in a position to start pressuring TaToH's. And instead, he'll place it defensively. TaToH definitely looking to put the pressure on now.
Still no war galley upgrade. A bit surprised that Vinchester is giving up water that easily. He's getting pushed away, will lose some of the skirms, and now his army is really exposed. Demo from the left edge. Oh! He gets it, and that clears up everything. Suddenly we're down to 10 military. TaToH gets full control. The master of demos.
He just lost half of his army in that singular moment. Great, you're up to Imperial Age in just a moment, but what do you have at that point?
Nothing. Now he's starting to produce again. He has 1 Kata, 7 skirmishes, completely out of position. Suddenly TaToH has all the map control in the world.
And look at this, Janissaries are forward. You don't have a castle at home. Your castle's now stuck in the middle. And so you're relying on just a few skirmishers to keep your eco alive.
And they also are getting closer to the war galleys as well. No ballistic, so you can dance around it, but it's not pretty against all those Janissaries. And TaToH, he has to love his situation now.
What a massive play out of TaToH. Still in the Castle Age, floating a lot of wood, so would look for him to either market abuse himself or drop a ton of farms, try and get himself up to imp, not too far behind, but like you say, momentum squarely in his favor.
TaToH now heavily using the market, tries to follow it up with some imp army here. So still tries to get Botkin, but Vinchester, if he gets 2 fast fires, TaToH has no answer to that in Castle Age.
Yeah, 20 seconds away from imp. We do have a demo on the field for Vinch as well, bringing it forward, looking for a nice shot, but TaToH very aware and gets away with it.
Yeah, and Vinch, he's taking a fight without any advantages now, right? He's heavily outnumbered. Janissaries are even helping out. A relic yoinked, not unlikely that TaToH will even get to 4 relics. He didn't scout the one at the bottom of his map, and that could be a really nice setup for the late game as well.
Yeah, you've made it to imp. The only 2 techs you're able to bring in age your castle at this point. You have Bracer and chemistry. You don't have any crossbows out on the field anymore. You've got 10 skirmishers. He does have trebs in production though, so could maybe just force the point of pressure to shift on the map.
And he is forcing the point of pressure. Look at that. Now the castle is where we wanted to see it a bit earlier.
There it
Still
is.
has a 2-minute window until TaToH reaches Imperial Age. But then again, TaToH can easily put down those siege workshops and can instantly get to bombard cannons.
Yeah, without a doubt. Also has 4 villagers back on stone. So plenty in the bank to either repair until he makes it to imp, and has bombards and trebs of his own. As well, could replace a second castle later.
Oh, 1 demo again, trying to repeat the
please.
story.
Oh, please.
Oh, you needed to lure in with the galley, but yeah, it didn't really happen.
It would have been the Janissaries, right? You'd have to, like, bait with the Janissaries.
Oh, and he's baiting!
But he's doing it either way. I mean, what a great engagement still, though, right? You're losing nothing, just a chunk health from these skirmishers. You're tracking them. Also, left-hand side, TaToH dropping military buildings.
Ooh, maybe stables.
Stables. He did go for the second armor already, so we could see raiding play here again. When you've dropped both of your castles forward and the only thing you have in production is skirmishers, that's full permission for your opponent to go tech into some form of cavalry and look to raid.
Yeah, and there are like multiple timings Turks are hitting there when they are reaching Imperial Age. You obviously get instant Hussar. That is brilliant for TaToH, and you get that instant chemistry, so they just spike up so much, and that's why TaToH will get a massive advantage.
And don't forget that extra Pierce armor, right, as well on those Hussar and Light Cav. So already, just as Light Cav, now Hussar going to easily pressure these skirmishers away. Luckily, we have a couple fire ships there to help. 3 Trebs, though, forward here for Vinch, putting lots of pressure onto TaToH's castle. So that's really it. TaToH's looking to spread around the map, but Vinch is looking to push up the gut.
Heavy demo, one of the earliest upgrades TaToH is going for an Imperial Age there. And mass Hussar, mass heavy demo sounds really solid, but then we need to go for higher farm numbers. I would love to see them in the 70s for TaToH.
Yeah, look at this. Forging about to complete as well. Small force of Janissaries to reinforce these Hussar that are coming in and looking to just stow chaos into the eco of Vinchester. Dropping another TC in the back is Vinch at the moment for safety.
Well, he needs to stall out, right? He still has the gold control. Nice for him. TaToH, he doesn't really have the answers. Look at that. Still no siege from him on the field. So he doesn't have the answers, but oh, those traps are ambitious.
Very, very ambitious. And he realizes that he's a little bit up a creek without a paddle there. We'll pull them back for just a moment. Look to clear up these docks here from TaToH. I see demo ships.
And yeah, demos, those traps can't run.
That's
those
right.
should be 2 dead traps.
Let's see if he can maneuver it around here. We'll see if Vinch recognizes. Doesn't look like he will have time to.
One demo shouldn't find the full kill, but lots of damage then.
As long as the fire ships come in and target properly. Bringing a couple villagers forward, though, to repair. And the castle fire looks like it will save that Treb. So only one goes down. TaToH now dropping a more defensive castle in his base to protect that farming eco and also force the Trebs to move into an unsafe position if they want to keep the pressure up.
Oh, what a strategic game now. Like, where do you raid? Where do you go now? This is like not decided by pure macro. This is like, where do you put your focus on?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I don't envy the players in this situation, but we'll go ahead and take a look to see where Vinch is putting his focus, looking to wall up here, keep those Hussars out, does a phenomenal job of getting those house walls up, but still has to deal with a few that are making quick work of his eco.
Oh, so many holds here, and yeah, the raids are continuing, makes it really tricky for Vinch, and TaToH, he's just trying to keep those numbers down, and you can see the food eco of Vinch is raided so much that he buys food at an extremely high price.
I mean, he has probably like 30 farms placed and 7 on food currently.
40 idols! You can see it at the top. Oh man, the eco is not looking that pretty, and now this is the moment where we switch to work efficiency. It should be in the 30s, maybe 40s for Vinchester.
That's the beauty of this map, though, right? It is. It's the balance between the control of the gold in the center and the value that you place on that to being able to spread out to the wings and pressure from either side. TaToH has chosen the latter, continues to flood Hussar into Vinch's base, and it's making it so difficult for Vinch to make any forward progress.
And he's just putting the TC down there. He should get a lot of stone. Vinchester still somewhat stabilizing and now switches into camels. I think the great choice because you can chase down those Hussars with more mobility.
Yeah, and all this means that TaToH has lost complete control of the water. You can see Vinch lining the shores with ships, making sure that TaToH has to place things very far back. Second castle goes up defensively for TaToH as well. But at the moment, it seems like really his only recipe for success is flooding Hussar.
But still, units going down, trying to go here left-hand side, and Bombard can easily choose through that palisade wall.
Yeah, that's big. He's going to be able to get through the palisades, get the Hussar back into the eco. And again, doesn't matter what your Trebs and your castles are doing for you in the middle of the map if I've got a siege workshop up on the left-hand side.
Oh, more than 30 villagers died with that raid now. Quite nice aggression, but that push still continues, and those traps really well protected now. TaToH, could he maybe go for sneaky redox next to the forward stone?
He definitely could, right? That's the one position on the map that Vinch doesn't actually have very much vision of, although I can see that he's bringing a fair number of his ships back.
Nice.
To maybe protect against exactly that. It's Camel v Hussar in the base. Vinch going for the first of the cavalry armor upgrades here to make it an even more lopsided trade. But look at this. Right now, Hussar are almost essentially winning the fight.
Yeah, it is completely naked, unupgraded camels, right? No bloodlines, no attack, no armor against 3 armor, 1 attack, and bloodlines imp units.
Okay, first armor upgrade completes. He's able to push those Hussar back. 2 bombard cannons, though, working away on this TC. And look at the continued number of idols here. 30. Vinch hasn't been able to get his eco working in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Look at simply look at the numbers, right? 1 hour against 1 hour 40 minutes. So TaToH's eco is roughly like 66% better there. It's just absolutely crazy how many more resources he's getting in there. And Vinchester tries to somehow stabilize, but still, remember, he has the gold in the center.
Exactly. Such high-level play, right? We're recognizing that, yes, he is losing ground on one side of the map, so he needs to start changing the point of attack, bring TaToH's attention back to his own base. He's got a Treb working away on this castle over here. TaToH, no military in defense, so just blowing through his stone to keep that that castle alive as long as possible.
Need to send some units over there. TaToH, I don't really see too much army out on the fields. Only 17. He overboomed behind this. Look at that. 164 villagers, 4 more in the queue. Ooh, atypical misstep by him.
And only 20 military at that. We've got heavy camel and husbandry coming in for Vinchester, so finally starting to get those upgrades in. Second armor as well means that these Hussars are going to be a lot less potent on the front lines. TaToH's going to have to start to look for a different answer.
TaToH just spent how much? Like close to 1,000, 1,500?
That was a lot of
gold.
Yeah,
like
the gold. I mean, the stone price is now near 200.
Yeah. Never do math on stream, Nili. But that is a big investment. That castle has to pay off for TaToH here.
Wow. And what do you think about this placement? I mean, because it's not necessarily denying anything that you weren't already denying. Like, it does give you a forward position. I totally recognize that. But it isn't so far forward that you're immediately pushing him off of, say, one of his golds or any of his current working farms. That said, Vinch wants to take the fight. He brings the camels forward into Hussars. Does he have enough to break through and stop this castle from going up? The Bombard's even looking to get some snipes onto those camels. More Hussar flooding in, and it looks like TaToH will have enough, I think, to keep this castle up.
That's not a lot of villagers there. Look at that. 5 villagers working away. Bombards in some danger. This is cost efficient for Vinchester, but once this castle goes up, there's not a lot of siege supporting that area for Vinch.
He just has to keep that meat shield in front of the villagers, buy them time for the castle to go up. It is very, very close, as now the camels are starting to take the engagement. Will he have enough time on these villagers to get this castle up? Only 2 villagers working away, and no, 95, 96%, and he gets denied.
Oh, why did he not wall in the villagers? He had the time. He saw the army swarming in, and all of a sudden Vinchester takes a 30 population lead. Those crossbows are finding kills as well. Vinchester, what a crazy defense.
Disaster strikes for TaToH. With so much focus on the front lines, Vinch even finds time to bring these crossbows forward and start to do work on the eco. All of these forward buildings now under threat for TaToH. Oh, sending 3 villagers forward, though. Will it get walled up in time? This is a big play from Vinch, and he does get it. He's got to keep them away from this castle, though.
Nice one as well. What a crazy hold.
What a heads-up play from Vinchester here. Just don't open that gate. Do not open that gate. Okay, you saw TaToH was waiting for it. He's going to start to try and batter it down with those villagers, but as long as Vinchester's aware of it, he brings a couple camels back to deal with it. I think Vinch has this one if he keeps it up, Nili.
Oh, and look at that, even bought more stone here for TaToH. Wants to build more town centers, apparently. Goes for some at the bottom. Hussar's still a crazy unit that you are fine with going for if you are not investing to gold. TaToH redocking the right-hand side, the only way to control the center.
Yeah, chasing Trebs away with villagers, as you said. Pumping docks up on the right-hand side. Realizes that he's got to start to garner some control back, as he's going to lose his entire forward, most likely.
But we mentioned it earlier, right? If we get into the scenario, Byzantine so good in him. Like, your water is crazy good, those camels cheap AF, and he will love to play from here, Vinchester.
Yeah, and I mean, and you don't have the counters, right, as Turks to the camels, because all you can do is produce spearmen, and you're not gonna waste resources on that kind of production. And so when you get spread out around the map like this, Byzantine's gonna be happy to throw the camels in and disrupt your eco. He's now bringing them to the right-hand side as well. Recognizes that that's the only point of safety for TaToH at this state of the game.
Hussar's going in again, but Vinchester is so stabilized. Look at that, 142 villagers. He's fine with losing 15. He killed so many as a return.
Yeah, for every Vill you kill in my eco, I'm going to kill at least 2 in yours. So happy to take the trade. We see those Vill counts dropping on both sides, but already the naval military here for Vinch has found the docks on the right-hand side and are working away. Last-ditch effort for TaToH there is going to be, though, building up as much of a mass as he can, take control of water, and maybe threaten that center island for gold once again.
Yeah, and TaToH completely out of gold, except the market use. Obviously, price, look at that. Now buying 100 so for 215 gold already.
Oh, my goodness. Astronomical numbers there.
Well, did TaToH just invest all his demos there? Oh, yeah, he did, but didn't clear up enough. Vinchester was so...
Yeah, just a couple war galleys coming out, but you got plenty of fire ships there from Vinchester, which will make quick work of the military for TaToH. And again, looking to wall up wood lines. He's already running out of options for wood lines here on the right-hand side.
Look at the population for TaToH now. He's really struggling to keep it up. 140 population and bombard cannon defense, something you don't see too often against mobile raids.
No,
TaToH calls it.
The GG comes through. A beautiful, beautiful game one in this set. I'll take 4 more of those.
Yeah,
please.
absolutely.
4 more of those, please.
Oh.
But what a victory there from Vinch. What a heads-up play around that castle as well. I mean, plenty of winning moments for Vinch, but I think in particular that, realizing that TaToH's probably only option at that point was to get some real pressure forward in his base. Stopping the castle at 96%, comes away with an early victory.
Oh yeah, that was so sick. But also like the play around the first castle that was so defensively, right? He built like exactly 1 camel to deal with those light cav, and then he went out there, built the crossbows, built the skirmishes to deal with those janissaries. Like Vinchester, his reaction was so on point here.
And let's not forget that this man lost 10 crossbows to a demo early on in the game. I mean, if there was ever a time to call disaster for Vinch, that was it. And again, he didn't let it shake him. He found his way back into the game. We talked about nerves. We talked about inexperience on land settings. And one of the best ways to get over that is to take game 1 in a best-of-5 against TaToH.
Yeah, maybe we can take a look at that one again, production, because he shook it off with a smile. Like, he wasn't like,
true, yeah.
Some people get like angry, like the typical esport head shake, and it gets into your head. He was just like, okay, I know lots of people will be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. You've got to have that kind of humor about you, right? Especially when you are in a system where you're going to have to play, you know, an astronomical number of games, right? Even if every set you play is a 3-0, you're still going to get quite. So you're going to have those types of moments are going to happen in this game. This looks like the GG moment here.
Okay.
Just a reminder of how it went.
Okay, but just a 1-0. Okay.
Yeah. Understanding that, again, doesn't have options against those camels in the late game, right? But it was that, the demo into the crossbows was such a big play there for TaToH. Great recovery from Vinchester. I mean, I liked this strategy that we saw out of TaToH in seeding the center of the map and bringing up that forward on the left-hand side. It definitely gave us what turned out to be such an entertaining game because you've got these 2 brilliant strategic minds at work against each other.
And, well, we will see it on a very strategic map here again. Hippo Arena, Burgundians against Khmer.
Khmer? What do you make of that?
And we had Frigid Lake.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what we were discussing prior to the series, where you put Khmer and where you put Persians. And he's going to go with Khmer on Arena, which is not something that we necessarily assumed. Now, all of that said, he was probably likely aware that he was playing into Burgundians because he had sniped Cumans away from Vinch.
No, he didn't know it because there were also Poles and Portuguese still as options for Vinchester. So
that's a good point, right? Okay, yeah, definitely. And with only 2 closed maps, really, in the pool, they could really go. They could go anywhere. So this will be an interesting one. Burgundians get those early eco upgrades as we see Double Bit Axe already coming through. And so they become a big eco threat. Khmer, though, known for their ability to bring in food quickly by not having to drop up and getting that steady injection of food from their farmers.
Hippo Arena compared to the other arena, it feels like the distance is a bit longer.
Definitely.
And therefore we saw a bit of like all-inish play. The distance to get the castle up is a bit longer. And the light cap fights were a bit different. We are seeing fewer spearmen now And Khmer, well, they don't want to go for Spearmen anyways. The question will be, like, Vinchester, we kind of can anticipate the approach, right? Probably like pop 25, +2, go for some light cav, get some relics here, try to get golden food for your relics. But with Khmer, what's the boom approach going to be? Are we building a stable? Are we going like 3 TC? What's the army composition going to be? Lots of question marks for me.
Definitely left with a lot of questions. And yeah, not only are we generally placed further apart, this map as a whole is way more open in the center compared to a traditional arena map. And so a lot of times you see a little bit more difficulty caging your opponent in. If you bring a forward castle, there's still opportunities to kind of swing out and expand to the outer edges. So it leaves more options, right, ultimately for the approach for both players here about whether or not they want to go, 1 TC, look to end it early with a forward castle, or boom out.
Hold on. Look, stay at this view. Do you see the hippo head eating the town center? From the left? The stony area? And the hippo head?
Okay, yeah, I see that right there.
That's the mouth.
Yeah, but that
the
is
eye at the top?
But in actuality, that's his cheek, right? Like, because we look at the mini-map, his actual
don't look
mouth.
at the mini-map.
Don't
Don't look at the mini-map.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Siamese hippo. This is just the second. This is the second hippo head. Yeah. Gotta love it.
Okay. Suddenly I saw 3 hippos. Oh, that was weird.
Both players, phenomenal Dark Ages. Again, at this level, there's going to be 0 idle TC time, and it's just a matter of what pop we go up on. Like you said, looking for that 25-ish number for Vinch. TaToH maybe a little less clarity, though, as he moves 3 villagers over to gold, already on his way up to Feudal. 24 pop-up.
Yeah, should be 24 +0. So no villagers built in Feudal Age, so it should be pretty smooth transitioning. You don't need those extra building to free yourself to go to the next age.
Yeah, another beautiful aspect of playing the Khmer. It'll only bite you if you're a low elo player on an open map, and then you get to the Castle Age and you realize you have no military buildings. And so you're like, what did I come up to the Castle Age for?
Yeah. Also the same with playing Feudal Age, right? How many games I've died to Spearman Scout thinking like, oh, I can skip the barracks.
Right.
Didn't work out too well.
Absolutely. Vinch himself moving over to gold now. Actually, a little bit higher pop up, 27.
Really strong economy from him here. Might go for an additional extra town center and the stable. Just doesn't want to contest too early. Thinks, okay, TaToH, you won't open stable. You will go for 2 town centers yourself first.
Yeah, we're going to see that Feudal Age hit in about 20 seconds. Already has the resources to click to castle, so TaToH will be instant, and you see there immediately pulls his vills off of gold. So we're going to see a boom here. Wants to get as much wood in the bank for when he hits that Castle Age.
Okay, 17 on 1 lumber camp, or 13 on 1 lumber camp, 4 on the straggler, obviously not too pretty. Pulled everything away from gold, really smooth there, squeezes in those eco upgrades, probably goes for the berries fully. And does he build more farms before the second farm upgrade? It would be the greedy approach, but I think he can't do it. No, he has to build farms. Yeah.
2 farms getting dropped for a total of 4 at this point. I would say that, along with the 6 that you have on berries, is probably enough to support the 2 TCs that you'll drop, at least initially, in Castle Age with a little bit of food in the bank.
And yeah, look at that, 1.5 minutes away, and Vinchester, I think he will be up like 2.5 minutes later, something like that.
Exactly, because he himself has to drop the 2 Feudal Age buildings, so will be market stable here for Vinch before he can click up. Just needs 120 food. We'll have that no problem once these 2 buildings go up.
Yep, still 9 on food here. And now the big question still is to me, like, how are people approaching it in the long run? And TaToH, he clearly opens with a 3 TC boom. When we will see the monastery, when we will see the stable. Vinchester, if he opens with the stable here, how many relics is he going to get? If he gets all 5, TaToH has a massive uphill battle against him.
Yeah, both players. I mean, relic generation on this is fairly well known, right? So even if they haven't scouted it, they have a general sense of where those relics will be.
Vinchester's Castle Age upclick is the latest we have recorded. And that probably includes qualifiers, and I would assume that excludes humans, though.
Ah, yeah, that would make sense.
But yeah, we have not seen a lot of tower rushes, and people
like, it's not really standard to go up with 27 population anymore. Like,
No.
26 till 24 is what most people are aiming for.
Yeah, that's like Vubli days. Fast Castle. We've got Bosaw coming in, immediate 2 TCs dropped from TaToH. So going into that boom, love to see the farms placed from Khmer. It's always fun to see where those get thrown down. Miles away from the TC.
Yeah.
Probably freaking some people out if they're just tuning in, not realizing that TaToH is playing the Khmer.
And obviously it was Feudal Age, so it included humans there as well. Yeah, I was confused with the Cast Age timing, but still, the same concept applies.
Yeah, very much so. Let's see here. Eco upgrades coming in for Vinch on his way to Castle Age. Again, one of the big benefits of being the Burgundians is you get to click those upgrades a whole age earlier, if you so choose. So 20 seconds away. Has enough to drop 1 TC currently when it comes to his wood count. Almost there for 2.
Stopped at 3 scouts right now. I think it will be 1 TC plus 1 monastery. Has to know that he should be in a really good spot. Is not seeing any extra scouts, and maybe even a really aggressive monastery here to keep your walking distances short.
Okay, so it does drop, yeah, drops the 1 TC in the back, drops the second one on stone. So it's boom for boom right now.
Is it a Costier play or is it 4 TC play? That's always the big question here. 4 TC Paladin, you're missing a bit of your timing, but obviously strong economy.
I feel like you go 4 TCs. If you're the later one up, you have to know that you're losing the booming, you know, quote unquote, losing the booming battle at this point from villager production. So if you're going to choose to go immediately for 3, I think you have to go for a 4th and try and match.
And that's the beautiful thing with this overlay, right? If we only look at the numbers, 28 ventures against 37, we have to think, oh, TaToH is so far ahead. But if we look at resources collected, we see the power of Burgundians there. The eco upgrades already kicking in. We have 5 eco upgrades against 3 eco upgrades. But also that number will give us more intel, like 3 minutes, when both players are set up with 3 TCs.
Yeah, at this point, TaToH should start closing the gap just a little bit. But Vinch did drop a monastery at home as well. So it's 3 TC plus a monastery, 4 scouts now out onto the field, and TaToH still working with the 1.
TaToH also 3 villages on stone, maybe 4 TC play. Like, I could see a really good TC spot there next to the gold and the wood line.
Yeah, but that does mean that he's likely sacking all of the relics to Vinch, and we talked about how dangerous that can be to hand over relic control to a Burgundian player.
No vision now. This is guaranteed 5 relics.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, unless we... And again, Khmer doesn't even have a barracks up yet, so even if he wanted to start getting scouts out, he's still well away from being able to get that production up and going. But there it is, the 4th TC that you called for there, Nili. So TaToH really is throwing down the gauntlet here. Anything you can do, I can do better. I'm going to outboom you. And it doesn't matter that I'm giving you control of the map and the relics.
Vinchester, obviously, having cheaper eco upgrades is a nice thing. But still, he clicked handcard with 32 villagers. That's pretty early, and probably the math would not agree with that, even with Burgundians.
Yeah, definitely. We won't do the math on air, but we will suppose. Here we go. We're going to have the stable dropped here from TaToH. So perhaps we'll get a couple scouts out and at least make it difficult for your opponent to bring those relics in, even if you're not going to contest them yourselves with your own monks, because it looks like second stable as well.
Vinchester sees nothing, right? TaToH exactly out of range there. Nice placement. And Vinchester could be caught off guard a bit. Now the big question for TaToH, how many scouts are you hiding till you move out?
That is a good question. I have to imagine with 2 stables, he'll wait till 4. 2 out of each stable, possibly. I love what Vinch has done, though. He's got 2 scouts on each gate. So when you do decide to move out, I will know immediately. A 3rd stable now dropped for TaToH.
And that's also, I'm a bit surprised that Vinchester, with all this knowledge, didn't go for the far away relics. He wants them in nice and early, boosts his economy a bit more, but you're risking not getting all 5.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Do you have a general preference? One way, I mean, obviously it's situational. If your opponent's not contesting at all, you should go for the further ones.
If you have enough farms to keep all your TCs running, I think going for the further ones feels more natural to me.
Well, bringing in a second one now. So at least happy to get 2. He'll get his first look at the scouts from TaToH moving out, and it is 4 that TaToH is leaving with.
Look at that, 3 chasing, 1 going for the relics.
Light Cav, Husbandry for TaToH, just Light Cav here for Vinch. I'll be honest, I did not clock whether or not he got...
Husbandry, well, we can click at the units and see the speed
7-1 is husbandry in already for Vinch.
Okay, there we go. So TaToH will just be able to match that here in 1 second. But this goes back to your point about Vinch's choice to go for those closer relics first. He now has to concern himself every time he moves out with monks to get the remaining 3.
Nice snipe here. Vinchester with really good micro and gets another kill. Really solid play. Holy moly. 3-1 KD. And now can heal up.
Yeah, brings them back. Able to push those scouts, those light cav away by threatening the conversions. Now heals up. Monastery up for TaToH. Eco lead, though, continuing, or villager count, I should say. Eco lead. Actually, we do check those resources collected, and he has surpassed them now. So the villagers are starting to do work for TaToH.
That's crazy, right? If we think about the best booming civilizations, we always say Cumans or Burgundians.
Yeah.
And that Khmer went for this greedy strategy and didn't get punished for it. Pretty nice for TaToH.
Yeah, definitely would feel good in his position, also knowing that there's still 3 relics out on the map. We do have some spearmen, though, as well for Vinch, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult for TaToH to navigate these fights. He's got to be on point with his micro. Big light cav numbers for both players now.
46 Khmer farmers already, 21 minutes into the game. He will have to love his position. That's how he can afford the 3 stables, now even getting some upgrades here. There could be a wild world where TaToH could end up with more villagers and more relics.
Absolutely. We got forging for both players. It's amazing to me how often players are in lockstep with those timings, but Bloodline's now coming in as well for TaToH, going to give him an injection of HP on that pack of light cav.
Okay, now also the armor upgrade. Light cav, scared of those spearmen. Not a lot more kills happening right now. 1 low HP light cav. Anyone thinking about imping? Not really, even pikeman upgrade. Wow.
Yeah, my goodness. Also, it doesn't even feel the permission to really bring the monks out, right? We're doing battle right now between militaries, but without any monks in place to try and pick up these relics. I say that actually, TaToH did get
He get one.
The one in the top right a little bit earlier.
Distance is just so long. Like, it's such a long space where light cav can snipe your monks, and that's why both players are relatively scared. But yoinking that one away, actually kind of inexcusable. Vinchester should have a light cav there.
Yeah, castle going up at home for TaToH at this point. Wheelbarrow and loom coming in as well. 1,200 wood for TaToH. Would look for him to either, again, abuse the market or continue to drop farms, get himself up to that 60-ish, farm count where Khmer can just, again, flood the map with light cav or hussar in the Imperial Age. But he himself going for pikemen as well and looking to bring a monk out and grab that all-important center relic.
So will be pikemen versus pikemen. That's pretty interesting. And humans technically should lose that. They're not having the last armor upgrade, but I don't think that we will get to like 60 pikemen against 60 pikemen. I think we will add some ranged units eventually.
Yeah. And if we get late enough into the game, you can always see some of those very potent Khmer siege units coming out to deal with the infantry. Also, now looking to drop a 5th TC outside the base on that stone. We'll get harassed by these 2 light cav, but brings in some reinforcements. We'll get that TC up, no problem.
1 villager down, something he certainly can afford with those numbers. Now on the way to Imperial Age, Vinchester will follow suit though. And now the big question again, what are the army compositions going to be like? Hussar, Arbalest, Halberdier, probably. And Burgundians then goes Halberdier, Hand Cannoneer, Bombard Cannon?
That sounds right to me. You love your gunpowder units on that side, and the hand cannoneers will feel very good. I actually think there's a lot of value in delaying those barracks even for the time that he did. Both players, by the way, clicking up to Imp at nearly the exact same time. Both players bringing in the first armor upgrade for their infantry units.
Ooh, Cavalier play. Wow. So he goes for Cavalier Halberdier. So technically TaToH would counter that by only going Halberdier.
Yeah, to me that's a curious click given the fact you've already seen the pikemen on the field. You also saw him bringing up more barracks. So he's already placing military buildings that are very specifically designed, in mass to counter your units. All that said, the power that is packed into the punch of a single Cavalier, right? And then multiplied by specific numbers can really just overwhelm your opponent. Perhaps that's the play he's looking for, is just an early timing in Imp where he already has the Cavalier themselves and then just can support it with some of those gunpowder units and or, Trebs, bombard cannons, and really put some pressure on.
And Vinchester wants to play the really long game. Look at that, he goes for Burgundian vineyards, basically giving you some more food income, or some more gold income, or if you have a lot of farmers. It is worth roughly 1 relic, I think, with like 45 farmers, so you can kind of think it's 3 versus 3 relics now.
He grabbed the first archer armor upgrade. Was that a misclick?
Hand cannoneers will be the play of the future, but I think second armor on pikemen could have made a bit more sense.
Yeah, I just feel like at this point, with the military that you have on the map, you would want to give them an injection early, but huge engagement in the middle. In all honesty, neither player really gaining much out of it aside from a trade of lives. But here we go, Imp for both players. We've got the Ballista Elephants out for the Khmer, double castle production on that as well.
And that's actually really good against hand cannoneers and halberdiers, if they have some meat shield in front of it. Actually, a unit I didn't even consider. Oh boy, TaToH brain.
I mean, Ballista Elephant Halberdier feels like a near unstoppable force as long as you have siege behind you to help you push these production buildings for the side of Vinch. So that's what I'm looking to see on TaToH's side. But look at that, just 5 Ballista Elephants doing work.
Look at that, 19 kills for that group already, and Vinchester has to give up some map control. TaToH, a 40 population lead out of nowhere.
Yeah, feeling very good about his position. Halberdier comes in just now to match the Halb of the Burgundian player. We've got Blast Furnace coming in for both players as well. Conscription for both players to up the speed of that production. But TaToH near pop cap. As soon as he drops 2 houses, he's going to be at 200 pop.
And yeah, he has the production behind it. So many resources floating as well. 50 Khmer farmers. He has to love life. The only thing missing is real siege.
Yeah, we just had chemistry come in for Vinch, so now has the ability to produce hand cannoneers if he wants. We've got Paladin on one side. We have Elite Ballista Elephant on the other side. Arson came in for TaToH as well, so those Halbs will do work on production buildings if left unchecked. Has to retreat to the safety of his castle, though, here with those Ballista Elephants while microing down the Halberdiers. It's just siege. He's just missing siege right now, right? To really get any forward momentum.
I think he took 5 Halberdiers out of the queue, and now is even going for the double crossbow upgrades. Those Ballista Elephants now shoot 2 Scorpion bolts, basically.
Yeah, that means, I mean, Halberdiers will melt in instance against that. Look at both players, though, already expanding to the north and the south with castle. Replace that castle forward. Vinch might think better of that one once he sees that the castle's already up on TaToH's side of things, but he has to find an answer to this northern push. He's amassing Cav in the back, though, trying to keep them a secret while the Paladin upgrade comes in.
9 of those, but what are the Paladins going to achieve? We have 29 Halberdiers at the front, more barracks being added as well. All the Halberdiers are getting shreked. TaToH knows that a text which has to be
second armor upgrade coming in just now for those Paladins, and he's only got 9 on the field, 3 in the queue. It doesn't feel like enough when it comes to numbers at the moment.
Okay, let's take a look here. Now the Paladins are being shown. Halberdiers repositioning themselves. Maybe some hand cannoneers can dive. Those elephants need to be microed.
And he's got the wherewithal to do that, microing them back, bringing the Halberdier over to deal with the Paladins, and will push Vinch away.
Okay, has to love this one, and let's take a look how he's microing those at all times. And yeah, he's even raiding at the bottom, tries to deny this one while he sees, okay, that was a really good fight for me as well. And Vinchester, he will get the bad news here. He's not looking there, and oh, that's ugly for him.
Yeah, he gets his vision down there just in time to see what's happening, but not with enough time to stop it from happening. Those vills will go down, that castle won't go up. And going to place another one in the north, as we just saw there.
Okay, but TaToH, he's still controlling the center of this map, and what army is Vinch going to go? Like, he goes for the full mix there, like hand cannoneer, halberdier, paladin. It feels nice, but it just feels like TaToH has the better answer.
You've got 3 capped rams on the field, 4 in the queue behind it, 1 treb out onto the field as well for TaToH. Also coming forward for a castle. I mean, Vinch has more villagers, trying to place his, but look at this military force from TaToH coming in.
Those Village could get shredded. Ballista Elephants, they do damage in the line. Positioning here could be beautiful. Oh, he's tracking.
Absolutely. I mean, Vinch knows that this is his only chance, right? So he's got to look to force it up. TaToH, he is going to pull the units over to the left-hand side and deal with the military. So the castle does go up, might even deny TaToH's castle placement. The question is, will those rams do work here on the front lines? The Ballista Elephants surely are.
Oh yeah, 5 rams still unanswered though. All the melee units are there. Paladins are diving. Now Vinchester is trying to go for another castle, but this is getting costly.
Oh, without a doubt. More Paladin coming in from the left-hand side, but it's not enough to eat through these Ballista Elephants, providing all the cover fire you need for these cap rams, pulling the villagers now from building the castle as Siege Ram completes, and it looks like this might be the end here.
Well, let's take a look. There is still lots of room here for Vinchester, right? The bottom pretty uncontested. I think even if he loses this top position, he can continue fighting in this game.
We'll see. We finally get the last armor upgrade for the cavalry, but only a couple Paladin on the field here for Vinch. Loses yet another castle on the north-hand side. We've got 4 Siege Rams working away on the remaining one. 3 more on their way in, and still plenty of Ballista Elephants absolutely shredding any military that Vinch brings in.
Quite optimistic villagers there, going for the gold. Maybe just taking 100 gold away from the opponent there, because those villagers should not survive. And Vinchester, he needs to find a different approach to this one. Costier not really an option because he lost so many castles as well.
Yeah, well, akin to the very first map, he's going to look to switch sides. Brings villagers forward just in time to maybe repair this castle above death, but he doesn't get it by a couple of health. And that is going to be a bit disastrous for him when he thought maybe he could control the southern half of the map. TaToH steamrolling forward now with the Siege Rams and the Ballista Elephants, looking to push into Vinch's base.
Given the kill count of those Ballista Elephants, I think they have to be in such reasonable numbers here. And yeah, just double-clicking there. Over 40 already. Yeah. They got so many villager kills, plus the Halberdiers.
Yeah, 15 units have 43 kills. That's going to feel good when it comes to your ability to trade.
Dash, what's the best civ to have too many villagers with?
The best civ to have too many villagers with?
Yeah. Exactly, Burgundians, because you can go for Flemish Revolution. And that actually,
you think he's going to click?
Why not? Never resign if you're Burgundians and you didn't do Flemish yet.
Okay.
He goes to 150 villagers, does Flemish, and actually clears up this push.
Can they get through Ballista Elephants, though?
Yeah. 150, they get the shroud, they get all the extra
You'll
damage.
definitely push it back, but I have a feeling that you're basically going to get back to TaToH's castles, stall out, and then what are your options?
Well, continue in a new game, right? It's like still like you can reboom with
just
5.
resetting.
Yeah,
just resetting the map.
Oh, but he doesn't go for it.
Oh, there it is. The GG is called. Feels like he doesn't have the time to get that click up in the castle.
Maybe that was the last castle, yeah.
It was his final castle, because the one in the south fell as he was bringing those villagers forward. So I think realizing with 7 Siege Rams, as you mentioned, he did have 10 vills in the queue, so it probably was his idea as his last-ditch effort there. But TaToH gets game number 2, 1-1. We're all evened up.
And Khmer getting the win there. That's quite interesting.
I love it.
Frigid Lake still being one of the maps, so really interesting, and maybe some mind games there. Nice preparation.
Well, what did we say? We said invited players are going to come into these maps, and they're going to start to warp the meta. They're going to make people think about what is, actually a top-tier pick on each map, or even just knowing that, hey, Burgundians are traditionally very good on Arena. But because I know that, I can throw a bit of a curveball at my opponent. And I already know how they're going to play, and what they don't know is how I'm going to play. So bringing Khmer out there, it's a fabulous win. I wonder if as a result we'll see that pop up more on arena maps going forward.
Maybe actually even the top players kind of disagreeing with what they think should be the approach on Hippo Arena compared to traditional Arena. Should you play more aggressively? Should you play more passively? How many light caps should you commit? Can you fully boom and ignore relics? Like lots of different thoughts there, while we felt like arena meta was kind of figured out already, and I would love to see how it develops. Especially remember, we have more bans every single day.
Right.
So if people think Khmer is the best, we won't see them from tomorrow on.
I also love too with Khmer the fact that he could get those stables up late after the TCs without having to build a barracks, and so he immediately got into 3 stable production of light cav and was able to contest the 3 remaining relics on the map that we thought maybe were, all in the hands of the Burgundian player at that point. Also interesting enough, right? Loser of first map gets to pick.
Yeah.
So TaToH chose one of Vinch's maps. in that one and takes the victory on it. So, you know, again, kind of proving here out the gate that it doesn't matter the style of the map. I should be feared either way.
We can also agree that TaToH kind of could have picked Hippo Arena as one of his home maps, right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like we're going into any real directions there for the players. Maybe the only thing where we felt like TaToH could have been a bit more into that Northern Isles direction. Otherwise, I think both players have equal strengths.
Yeah. But in this position, 1-1, Vinch now with a selection of map in his hands. What are you thinking? Would you want to stick with another closed, quote-unquote, closed map like Fortified Clearing? Or do you want to switch it up? Are you looking for a change of pace as a player?
I'm typically the guy saying that if you lose a game, try to switch it up, play a water map if you lost an aggressive one. If you lost a long boomy game, try to play an aggressive one. And
he has all three options, right? He's got a semi-closed map, he's got an open land map, and then he's got a hybrid map with Frigid Lake. So really could go any direction. You know, taking a look at civs, Portuguese, super potent civ that we would expect to see on Fortified Clearing. We've basically relegated Persians to Frigid Lake. And so a couple perhaps known quantities, and then a couple wild cards in there, still waiting to see where certain civs are going to get thrown.
yeah, still the big question mark, like Poles or Portuguese there. Something we would love to see. And TaToH, obviously really established, right? And got 4th in NAC. Oh yeah, that is 4th in NAC 1, 2nd in NAC 2, and the last time he lost in the semifinals to Hera. So really accomplished over the first 3 NACs.
Yeah, never below top 4 is a feat.
Well, there were 6 players in the first one, and TaToH was there, so... yeah.
You gonna do the man like that? You're not even gonna wait till he's here later in the week to tell him to his face? Oh, Lordy. Seed number 4. So actually, it's kind of very apt, right? That he's always finished top 4, and he's seed number 4 coming into this one. So you feel like that's a pretty accurate representation of maybe his standing amongst the 10 players. But the reality is, all 10 players here are a threat. And here we go into map number 3. It will be Outcrop here. Vinchester in the red, playing as the Mayans against TaToH in the blue. Gurjaras.
And that's an interesting matchup. If we think about like the late game options, Gurjaras feel like they have a lot of answers to what Mayans typically throw out, right? We know that Mayans, they love to play around with their archers, maybe plumed archers, can take into Eagle Halberdier, but it just feels like Gurjaras, they will have the answer against range units to go for their Shibamshas, and if the opponent is going for infantry, they should get to Chakrams.
Yeah, just phenomenal mobility on the side of the Gurjaras, right? And typically plumed archers, of all of the archer civs, they're the most mobile, right? And so you like to try and use that to your advantage, but Shibamshas are going to have no problem chasing down those plumed archers, even if you do get them out onto the field. But it is a very open map, so anything can happen. It's also probably one of the maps where I'd have the most questions about you know, what we do in the Feudal Age, how aggressive do we want to be and elongate it there, or are we trying to get to castle quickly?
And we reduced the tree amount here compared to the previous Red Bulls there. Obviously, Outcrop was introduced for that to make walling a bit tougher. So actually, like, Vinch's map is really easily wallable.
Yeah.
Like, that is really impressive, and that's a really fortunate generation. It should look more a bit like TaToH's there, where he has to plug like 7-8 holes.
Yeah, exactly. So southern side of his base here going to be easy to wall up, and maybe that's going to be the safety he needs to get to the point of dropping a castle, get those plumed archers out onto the field.
Will be interesting. And the question is, will Vinchester feel like pressured, knowing that if we go to the 1 hour game, split map, both of us get gold, it won't be that pretty for me. And, well, as you said, like, Feudal Age aggression could be a thing. TaToH now goes for his berries, tries to finish those up. Now the big question, though, Gurjaras, obviously they get food with herdables in their mill as well.
Right.
And you spawn with extra herdables on this map. Let's take a look at the mill. How many do we have in there? Obviously, the more food you have in there, only 3 sheep.
Only 3.
So didn't find a lot of herdables.
Yeah, he does have 2 cows here. Looks like he's moving 1 over, possibly, to add it into the mill. And for those who are unaware, the total food on the unit itself is what determines the percentage that you get on a tick rate. So those cows worth a little bit more than a sheep when garrisoned in. But as you say, we've got a few more herdables on the side of Vinch, so easier time finding those early on for him. He's going to have a very stable food eco as both players are on their way to Feudal Age.
But you see how heavily TaToH was on berries. Vinchester pushed his deer a bit earlier, and you see that reflected in the resource collected. Roughly 200 more resources for Vinchester that early into the game.
That's going to feel very good. It's going to feel very, very good. Of course, TaToH now doing work to get those deer pushed in, but it means that Vinch gets to come forward and get the scouting information first.
Yeah, and I think, like, TaToH, he has very little idea about the bottom. Look at how little he only scouted there. I've seen Gojara players being really greedy and try to get to like 8, 10 extra herdables there to really boost their economy. TaToH, again, what I said in game 1, he's a guy who does not want to play in the dark. He scouts relatively early.
Look at the walls coming up for Vinch already on the northern side. So dropping a barracks on the front here. He's going to have military protection on the front side of his base. Both players have scouted the barracks for the other player, so no surprises there. Feudal Age about to be hit for both as well.
And we're going for the archer range here for TaToH. And he was not on gold, so we'll open some skirms, we'll then go on to archers, and Vinchester, we're expecting the archer range out of him as well. Double barracks play, something we don't see too often.
Yeah, both players moving Vills out to gold now. Our Vinch was a little bit quicker to it. Wall's almost complete, though, at this point for Vinch.
Not the ideal ones there, but still not a big investment. And I think this could be going into a relatively stable game. Home to Gojaras, 5-1 on outcrop, simply because they're so mobile and they perform so well against other good Gojara civs.
Also the most picked on the map, as we saw there. So phenomenal record. Supports the idea that they're a civ that should be prioritized on this map. A couple farms go down for TaToH here. And first archer out and following it up with some skirms until he gets more gold in the bank. To continue producing archers for Vinch, it's archers all the way. And actually an extra Eagle Scout as well. So looking to bring that out just to deal with any of those archers and skirms that might come forward.
Not impossible that the KD will be really low in this game. Like going into Castle Age, and then most of the time we will have to take a close look at who is putting down that market at what time, who is selling those resources at a better time. And now I'm a bit proud of myself, because I had to come up with the fun facts about the players and what is Vinchester known for, and I said the 2 till 3 archer sneak attacks. Look at what's
with
happening
fletching in already, right? And yeah, a couple archers coming forward. And right now he is the one who definitely has more potential for damage, because TaToH later on the walls has not gone for fletching and has not tracked these units either.
Oh, that will be tricky, and the walls won't be up in time. That house will be, but the other wall won't. And double archer, double eagle, that should be dead Vil, and TaToH comes up with some miraculous quick.
Yeah, a dead Vil, and then at the very least forcing those other villagers off of the wood line. Yeah, you've got him walled in currently, but that's not enough.
No, he opened the wall
we did open it too. Well, here we go. We're already on to the first villager. She has to retreat. So one Vil going to go down for sure. Cannot complete the walls either. And now we're pulling the lumberjacks away.
Okay, one villager down. Second one tries to dodge. Enough army around to scare this away. But Vinchester doesn't mind, right? He forced idle time, killed a villager. Getting out of there with 1-0 KD, he's fine reaching Castle Age like that.
Yeah, huge win. And he forced the fletching click as well from TaToH, right? That in seeing that military come forward, realizes, okay, I've got to bring my skirmishers over. Let's grab fletching ourselves just to make sure that we can take that fight. And back at home, we have a 2-vil lead here for Vinch. And more on food. Look how many more Vils on food.
Sneaky guy!
Ooh, I love this. He's bringing another villager forward. Okay, he's going for the quick clicks.
Oh,
okay, so
but that could be like 2-3 HP. The third one is really low, I believe.
Yep. And oh my goodness, Vinch, he sees it.
House.
He sees it, and we're through.
Low HP, that
so
was the low
again,
HP one.
It was a half-health villager, so another villager going to go down here, and now TaToH's chasing from behind. And so here we go. Now we push to the gold. We're forcing walls up. That's idle time. These villagers are going to have to back away anyway. All right, we will get a bit of a cleanup here for TaToH. Lucky to still have his ranged units on that side.
Look at the resource income, though. 500 more collected, and those 2 eagles are getting away. Archer suicided. If I am TaToH here, I think Vinchester plays full eagle behind this, but he isn't.
Yeah, super well microed by Vinch there. And like you say, he's 120 food away from clicking up right now. He's had far more villagers on food for the last 3 minutes than TaToH has. TaToH just getting up to that about 16 vill count on food. We're dropping another archery range as well at home.
So is not going into Eagles. So I would be fooled if I was TaToH here.
Castle Age click. Already TaToH still light years behind in that regard and doesn't have the kind of resources where he could buy himself up either.
Light year is a distance, not a time.
Fair enough.
Have you never read Twitch chat?
I do my best to never read Twitch chat.
Okay.
I'm a full screen. I'm a full screen viewer. I don't understand people who watch with chat up.
Okay.
I've never, because I mean, I want the full picture, you know? So I want it as big on my monitor as possible.
Okay. That's why I have a second screen.
Where's Dave?
Apparently
Yeah,
they
where's
can't
Dave?
afford that in League of
Where's Dave
Legends.
with his chatting emote? I'm surprised we haven't seen that spammed in here just yet.
By the way, Market from TaToH sold the stone. Another sneaky archer raid here. Should die, though. One skirmisher to chase that one away. And crossbow play. The question now, is Vinchester trying to follow this one up with a siege workshop? Would surprise me because then Shivamshas would just be so good against it.
I think selling the stone is the right play when you're behind like this, but it feels so bad to know that Mayans are in a position for their boom. Mayan boom is so easy behind military production, right? And so knowing that very likely your opponent is still holding on to their stone and you had to sell yours means you need to do damage, means you're going to have to bring out some aggression here in the Castle Age.
Vinchester reaches Castle Age sub 16 minutes with 600, 700 food in the bank. Look at that. He can afford everything. He gets the 3 crucial upgrades. Even if he does the wood upgrade, he still has 100 foot floating.
I gotta love it. Bodkin crossbow coming in, and his archers are perfectly placed forward right now, right? Hasn't been tracked once again. Has plenty of opportunity to bite through these palisade walls. TaToH, kind of aware of it, already looking to get some house walls up behind that. Love to see that defensive play, but he's still going to be absorbing a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, needs to get the second stable up as well. Only one that's still researching. Fletching won't be the greatest thing. Oh, that's a dead villager. And I think that house is not really finished. Oh, this could be some pressure. 200 HP on it. Needs to wall a bit differently behind it.
Yeah, only 30% on that house and no armor, essentially, as a result. We've already got the university up as well for Vinch, so not too long until we see ballistics come in. That's going to make him a real threat if he ever manages to get into TaToH's eco.
TaToH goes for crossbow here? He doesn't go for Bodkin? This is so weird to me. Like,
well, he doesn't have the food.
He has only... No, but he doesn't want to tag into Bodkin anyways, right? Isn't this the spot where you want to go full Shiramsha? This is so
well, that would be my
to
thinking
me.
as soon as you know that the crossbows are on the field, right? It's a no-brainer counter unit, and he does have them in production. 3 Shiramshas now for TaToH, but only the first armor upgrade.
Signature early ballistics from TaToH as well. Well-known fact, should not catch TaToH too far off guard. I'm still surprised. Like, 1 armor upgrade, Shivamshas.
And these crossbows in the middle of the field, they're very poorly positioned without Bodkin. I mean, if Vinch decides to take that fight, particularly with ballistics, that's going to be a nasty trade.
How many Shivamshas do we need against that? Like 8 maybe? And then the army can help out a bit more. I think TaToH might be jumping a bit too early here.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. Does bring the crossbows in. So Vinch going to look to take the crossbows first. No, decides to swap onto the Shivamshas.
Oh god, silly Nili, completely misjudging the strength of Shivamshas. Beautiful clear up here for TaToH, and he gets all the map control back again.
Wow, yeah, we'll eat our words on that one, I guess. He had just enough to clear it up and didn't need the Bodkin click for it. Shivamshas were enough. Now that he's cleared up that forward pressure, he's going to immediately drop, I love that, he's going to immediately drop a TC at the back of his base, and Vinch will look to do the same out on one of the wings. So taking a little bit more map control for Vinch because he knows that he has bought himself that space with the forward army that just went down. For TaToH, a little bit more conservative. But again, we're TC for TC here. Nearly even in Nico, nearly even in military counts. Once again, the players are in lockstep.
Oh, the Shivamshas are finding everything though. And you can't quick wall against
no.
crossbows.
Beautiful find for TaToH as well. He knew the timing. He was scouting at the top as well. The map awareness of this guy.
What a brilliant move. And yes, having those crossbows there is crucial because the walls now mean nothing. All three of these villagers are going to go down. That's a villager swing in the game. The TC also not going up, which means that every second that passes is a second that TaToH gets ahead.
That's such a good move here for TaToH. Has to be really happy. Score completely misleading here. I don't think this is really an even game. Like, TaToH has just too much control. He goes to the top completely uncontested.
Yeah, and you can see Vinch having to pull everything down here to the south side in order to force that TC up. All of his military, extra villagers, and now TaToH knows if he's focused on this side of the map, I can swing to the other side of the map without worrying about too much pressure. Third TC going up for TaToH in the north.
Okay, and is Vinchester now sending more villagers? I think I see some dots, but it also feels risky, right? You never get... Oh, he actually gets the town center up there. Nice move there. And, oh, look at all those cows.
I was going to say,
found
he
like
just
5
randomly
cows.
found 4 of them just pathing through there. So, again, that'll feel good to at least steal those away from a Gujaras player that wouldn't mind finding those even at this point in the game and garrisoning them into a mill. But here we go, 4 villager lead, now 5 villager lead for TaToH. Siege Workshop going up at home to protect against the pikes and the crossbows.
Yeah, Gujaras obviously struggle against the big pike push, but with the siege defense makes it tricky for Vinchester to push. He has no villagers forward, won't really get onto forward siege workshop himself. TaToH trying to sneak again, but I don't think should find too much.
Scorpion or Mangonel first?
Scorpion.
Okay.
Produces half the time, is more mobile, you guarantee yourself more damage.
Cheaper as well, too, right? Yeah. So, all in all, nearly as effective, or as you say, possibly more effective at the early stages of the game. And it will be a Scorpion.
Yeah, love the choice there. Mangonel, kind of the unit that you go for if you need bigger swings, right? If you see like 35 crossbows and you know, damn, I need to hold this or I'm going to die, then you are going for it. Or if the opponent has Siege Workshop up already, because then your Scorpions are basically useless.
Wow, 4th TC now being dropped at the exact moment that Vinch drops a 3rd. So we'll keep that 1 TC lead.
Vinch's click Botkin 4 minutes below the average on the map, and Ballistics more than 10 minutes below the average.
10 minutes.
Ooh.
The only other player in this tournament that I can think of that would maybe match that kind of timing would be Liereyy.
With crossbow? Yeah.
In terms of, Botkin and ballistics.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, it speaks to the strength of Vinch as a player, right? Is his micro, his ability to use those crossbows to great effect. And so he will very happily put the resources into making them as potent and powerful as he possibly can. We've got Elite Skirm now coming in for TaToH, so recognizing that he needs to have a little bit more than just a couple Scorpions in response to the massing crossbow numbers here out of Vinch.
Oh, those crossbows are a bit out of position. Oh, he needs to run.
They are 3 Scorpions now, looking to work away on them. Pikes will come forward, at least take out 1. But now we've got Cervantes pulling some of the attention here. Crossbows looking to micro things down. Fairly solid splits here, and with the pikes, it looks like he is going to be able to get rid of those Scorpions. Does lose a lot of health, but doesn't lose the numbers.
Yeah, and that was actually really well fought by Vinchester there, how he's splitting there.
Oh, and then he loses 3 to the TC.
I think I lose like 15 crossbows there against the 3 Scorpions.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Not you, sorry. I don't mean to agree with you on your level of play. But here we go. We've got a Siege Workshop for Vinch coming up in the center of the map. So, again, looking to expand, looking to take a little bit more map control and keep that forward pressure onto TaToH.
Okay, triple arch range. Is that maybe in 4th and 5th arch range, or are we adding stables there? Skirm's now trying to defend. Still no ballistics from him. First armor upgrade. And that Siege Workshop is going to be pretty nasty. It is relatively far away, though. Like, getting to Mass Mangonel is tricky and can be intercepted by Cervantes.
Yep. Yeah, 1 on the field already. A second one in production. Looked like he had dropped 1 archer range, 1 barracks next to that. We've got a university finally coming up here for TaToH back at home. He's going for those archer armor upgrades to support the elite skirms, who are going to be responsible for dealing with this crossbow and pike pressure at the moment.
Now the big question for TaToH, that was a really strategic one, and I think even the greatest minds could disagree here. Where are we building the castle for TaToH?
do we want it defensively and know you're going to hold, or are we putting it more at the top and control some of the goals? Set yourself up for the long game. If you think you can hold here with Skirm, Shivamsha, Mangonel, it should be at the top. If you want to be safe and control your home base, it should be defensively.
I think the moment you see that these Mangonels are here, I think you have to drop it defensively.
No Mangonel in the queue, right? That really surprises me. Only now by TaToH. No repair on the town center as well.
Yeah, he's definitely inviting a lot of pressure here without that siege production for himself. But that's why I have to imagine he's looking to maybe place the castle between those farms just north of that TC, protect the farming eco, and kind of completely stop the pressure here. Pushed off of this wood line, though. Vinch looking for the full surround when it comes... And you know what? TaToH disagrees. It's going to be a castle in the north.
He thinks he can hold this, right? Mangonel obviously pretty easy with the defense. He will repair this main town center, and there's no like pushing punch behind it, right? There's no like threat of a forward castle, and TaToH probably behind MBL the best in Mangonel micro.
Yeah, we'll trade 1 for 1 there, which generally is good for the defensive player. Still has 1 Mangonel working away on his TC, but can continue with his wood count to repair that TC to no end. So yeah, perhaps he's right. Solid skirmisher numbers to deal with the crossbows. It's just about dealing with that Mangonel.
20 more villages here for TaToH. And Ballistics now in will slaughter some of those crossbows. Resources destroyed incredibly close as well as resource collected.
Okay, Vinch, 780 stone. Means he has enough for a castle for himself. So we've got to ask similar questions, and it looks like he'll answer it just as I ask it. Placed on the southern wing, but much further forward, giving him kind of a launch site for an attack.
Yeah, launch site, and obviously also prevents TaToH from getting a foothold of the bottom, right? And then this feels like potentially we are going into the full map split, right? Both having their starting bases. TaToH takes control of the north, Vinchester at the bottom, and then the switch. What army compositions are we going for? And Vinchester kind of realizes if we go long game, will be tricky, and that's why he invests so much into Castle Age.
Yeah, very much so. Blacksmith getting targeted here by TaToH, and probably will go down. So he has to make sure that he has the awareness to replace that. For any future upgrades that he needs.
And TaToH goes for a crazy upgrade. Considered to be one of the strongest ones in the game. It is 25% reduction on your food military units. And everything that you build basically costs massive amount of foods. So that is a crazy upgrade in Castle Age.
Yeah, very likely that he'll sit with skirms and cavalry units for a large majority of the game, all of which require food to build. That said, I'm starting to take a look at resources. As either player have any interest in making their way to Imp anytime soon? Doesn't look like it. Both players are kind of maxed out here.
Yeah, pretty massive Castle Age armies, right? When do we see like that massive, like close to 4k army value here? Now gets the second armor upgrade, and TaToH is building up an army, but I still think Mangonel count could be a bit higher. Now one could pop crossbows. Ooh, they were in danger.
Yeah, now he's got to
ground check. Oh, dance.
Will he get it?
Oh, beautiful.
Nice dodge there out of Vinch. Now brings the Eagles in to snipe the Mangonel. Villagers looking to repair, won't get it. Does sack a few Eagle lives in order to make it happen. But Vinch continues to put the pressure on. 3 Mangonels eating away at this TC.
Yeah, and he will take a look there. Lots of low HP ones. Eagles are diving again, and Mangonel lost there. I think he lost one to his own ground attack. Now jives in against all those skirmishes. Can TaToH hold this?
It's looking tough for him. He definitely is feeling the pressure with the TC down. Gives permission for Vinch to move in with those crossbows. He's working away on the eco of TaToH. Takes a moment to deal with the eco from himself at home. Skirmishers in defense, working through most of the Eagle numbers, means these crossbows will likely have to retreat.
Oh, those Eagles are such a good job there against the skirmishers, right? We are at reasonable population, but it just feels like we don't have enough archer ranges here.
No, not quite. He dropped 3 more stables in the back, and so maybe thinking that that's his answer is more a flood of cavalry. Well, okay, skirmishers do good work on those crossbows, though. Perhaps Vinch overreaching just a little bit. Is going to have to fall back. TaToH now dropping a defensive castle to make sure that he doesn't lose too much of his original base, and heavy market use here out of TaToH.
Bought himself some stone as well there. Interesting. Feels like, okay, fortifying that one is super important for him. And Vinchester lost a lot of momentum with that push here simply because there were no villagers around to repair those Mangonels as well.
Yeah, and they were all very, very low health, and so has to kind of start from scratch yet again. Will look to get a castle up on the northern side, though. So as we talked about that split map, at least Vinch is looking to get a small foothold here, which could be a difference maker later in the game if he has total control of the southern half of the map and then is contesting on the top.
Okay, Shivamsha's now thinking about raiding, population dead even here for the two players. And yeah, obviously, if Vinchester pushes the top, the game is kind of over. So TaToH needs to realize, I need to make sure to control that top. But it will be tricky, because he's deep in Dark Age, and Vinchester thinking about imping.
Yeah, and plumes are out onto the map, so transitioning from crossbows over to the plumes, a little bit more mobility. That's going to feel good. But here we go, raiding. Raiding starting for TaToH. And perhaps that's the answer for him. If he can spread the map out, it becomes a lot more difficult for the player who's managing an archer-type unit than it is the one who's micro and cav.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Now committing against...
Is he going to get that? Yeah, he will. Doesn't
Villagers,
look like
though.
the villager will come in to repair just in time. Not quite. But he does throw away quite a number of eagles in order to make that happen.
And isn't that the unit that he wants to go for? Apparently not, because he stopped eagle production and now goes full plumed archers.
Well, but he's bringing in forging. So as he clicks up to imp, he's going for forging, which is counter to... But I'm with you, because we see the production. It's just going to be pikes and plumes, it looks like, at least at the moment.
Okay, skirms. Oh, they were a bit ambitious, but Mangonel actually shooting against the market there. No big losses. And I wouldn't mind seeing Vinchester double down at the top, trying to win a trap war.
Yeah, it's a much earlier imp click for him. We've got Thumb Ring coming in now as well. Just going to increase the power of those plumed archers. But with the earlier imp timing, Nili, this is, I think, where it gets scary for TaToH, because we talk about how he has to maintain some semblance of control on one of the sides, and the only side that he has a presence on right now is the north. But if Trebs start coming out and working on those castles, it could be disaster, and quite quickly.
No attack upgrades on those chakrams means that they are not doing the craziest damage output. Obviously heavily work with the extra attack against infantry. Skirms need to survive to deal with those plumes. They have to run.
Yep, they will be able to do just that. A few more plumes, pikes, and eagles coming in to take the fight. We'll see if now TaToH, it's his turn to retreat just a little bit.
TaToH gets onto his ideal army composition, right? With full Shivamsha, Chakram, Skirm's not really being queued up anymore. Sits at 65 farmers, but still, he could be really surprised by the early imp from Vinch.
I was going to say, imp comes through just now, so TaToH gets to see that. Bracer will be the first click here for Vinch. He is kind of at his limit with resources, though, so everything he makes is that important. But a second castle in the north, I love to see that. While the Trebs are underway, he's putting the pressure exactly where he knows he needs to take this game.
And TaToH sends more villagers. He is all in at the top. He's not trying to spread to the bottom, which would be denied anyways, but he is fully committing here. The question is, does he take the foot off the gas and tries to get in, stops the production?
That is such a major commitment to the north side. He's got forging coming in for himself. Again, floating 1,200 wood. Please use that market. Let's get that food count up and get the click so that we can match Vinch. He goes for another castle in the middle, buying himself a little bit more space and control over some gold.
I think stopping production could have been an option. Like, you know that at one point you have to deal with all those units, and right now there's no like major area where you think you can raid or need to deal with traps. But it's obviously so much easier for us to see, and he queues up more Shivamshas. He commits further to Castle Age.
Yeah, with the iron casting upgrade as well, too, right? So even more investment of food. Trebs are out in the top 3 here for Vinch. Working on the TC first with one, Castle with another. TaToH's in retreat with the villagers.
Wow, and Elephant Archer now even being queued up. That's a bit of a surprise to me. That castle is going to fall. TaToH tries to get a TC up, but that one won't save him for too long.
No, this one's looking to fall apart here for TaToH. Again, a whole age behind, which means that he's working in deficits when it comes to upgrades, loses the castle and most of his position on the north. It's a forever castle age for him, and it's going to have to be overwhelming numbers if he wants to make something happen.
Okay, and another castle, really putting on
Two
strength.
more castles.
Look at that, perfect position to trap that forward castle as well. TaToH sends in his riders, though I think that castle might not go up unless we see some crazy quick walls.
Doesn't look like it. His attention is somewhere else. So he goes for it now with the stone walls, and he does actually get the first one up. So a couple villagers locked in there and can continue working away. That said, we've got a few range units coming forward. Perhaps still able to deny this one is TaToH.
Oh yeah, seems like it gets the castle up, but also no, doesn't get the castle up against the chakrams unless they want to focus on the infantry.
Two villagers.
Not fully focusing.
Will go down, it looks like.
How many HP do we have on this castle? I think it's getting really close now.
It was close, but it's all for naught.
Okay.
That said, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for Vinch. While he'd love to have it up, love to have control of that. Does lose 2 trebs, though. Now we're out in no man's land.
Only now the second armor for the Shivamshas. Obviously not the most important thing for them because they mainly dodge all the first projectiles anyways, and then the armor doesn't matter. But still feels like could have been something squeezed in a bit earlier if you play Castle Age that long.
Yeah, more trebs beginning to work away on the remaining TC in the north for TaToH. Means he's going to be pushed off of gold very quickly. Just this 2 tile of gold here as well in the center of the map really left at his disposal.
Yeah, needs to migrate at the top. Look at that. All the villagers running there. Might deny that castle in the center again. Now last armor. And just Halberdier and Plumes are doing the work. TaToH evacuating the top. And he will get the bad news if he wants to go at the bottom. So yeah, indeed, as you said, only 2 tiles of gold left.
I love it, though. Both players have now in this series had a castle denied at 96%. So TaToH, that's a small victory for him at this point. But just a small one at that. Now down to 112 villagers. At one point, he was 140 to 120.
Yeah.
So what a swing it's been in the eco. Also in a military deficit and an age down.
Yeah, just look at that. Like, Vinchester killed close to 60 villagers already in this game. Just killed so much more in general. And now, simply playing Imp against Castle Age, he will trade so much more efficiently.
You know it's a crazy game when both players' worker efficiency in the last minute is both below 60%. One of our players below 50. It really means that they've been pushed to the limit.
Yeah, that's really crazy, right? Obviously, Isle Villagers force on both sides there. 12 against 20 for TaToH as well. Drops below 140 population, needs to disengage here. So many fires to put out, it feels.
Yeah, TaToH able to dislodge 1 castle with those elephants, but Vinch says, no problem. I'll just move it a little closer. Places another. He's got plenty of plumed archers there to protect. He's got, and there it is, the GG called. TaToH understands that he doesn't have any outs anymore. Too far away from Imp. He'll call it. And now Vinch goes up 2-1 in the series. Back and forth.
Well, yeah, that's really interesting. But TaToH, again, now he can choose the home map here. But it looked really good at one point for him. The thing is that I would question is he saw crossbows and kind of built 3 counters against them. He went for Shivamshas. He went for elite skirms with all 5 upgrades in Castle Age. And he also went for Scorpions.
Yeah.
So triple counter against 1 unit, kind of.
Yeah, just over-investing in some ways, where you could have built a massive 1 or even 2 of those, right? And probably been just as fine. And then, again, we saw Vinch, phenomenal job of getting that castle up in the north. Again, I think establishing a presence in the north that early on in the game gave him that ability to push very early on in Imp and remove TaToH kind of from his only foothold when it came to gold and stone.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Oh. Yeah, you guys thought you were here to watch the top Age of Empires players play, but... Have you ever watched a man play ping pong with himself?
Together with all his friends.
And here we see T90 in his natural habitat. Gotta love it. I will just say how amazing an experience already it's been to be on site at my first Age of Empires LAN, getting to hang out with all the incredible personalities that we have here, players, casters, production, and behind-the-scenes team alike. It's been so much fun, and this is only the beginning.
And that's the player room there. Everyone's watching the stream. Jordan cheering. For a small moment, I thought he wanted to...
It's good to know that Jordan's watching the stream. Yeah. giving us that extra viewer. Don't you close that window.
He wants to read chat as well. He wants to see the Jordan emotes.
Yeah, oh, that's what
That
it
Nili
is.
Jordan's in the chat for him. Let's see the chat. This could be you. You could see yourself. Type.
There it is.
Type.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Jordan will be in our 5th set of the day. He will be he'll be closing it out against Liereyy, if I recall correctly.
What a
on
banger.
That one. Oof.
Yeah. And that matchup excites me, and the caster lineup excites me as well.
Ooh,
It's going to
does
be
it now?
you and Hera.
Yeah, stay tuned for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get myself schooled by Hera. I'm very excited for it.
Whew.
And that's what I mean, again, just speaking of the beauty of this tournament, the fact that players get to slot in for casts, right? And so we have just an incredible lineup.
Yeah.
We're going to probably, each of us as casters will pair up with everyone else. So we'll have, you know, kind of an infinite number of duos almost that you'll have an opportunity to see here at NAC4. But bringing us back to this series, Vinchester finds himself up and on set point here, 2-1 with 2 maps to play at most, right? And so, again, it's going to feel good to know that you've kind of got one in the bank if it weren't to go your way. But here we go into map number 4. Once again, it's Vinchester in the red on Frigid Lake playing as the Hindustanis up against the Persians for TaToH in the blue. I think no surprise there that TaToH has picked the Persians. In my short time here at this tournament, it's been well talked about by the players that it's the strongest civ on this map.
Yeah, plus 50 food, plus 50 wood just means you can send more villagers to wood early on, afford that dock over here, and then you can basically get all that food income back because you have that fishing ship. You can go for the super efficient fish income here at the front as well. So crazy, crazy economy.
God, what a great change to the game, allowing villagers to drop food off at docks.
Yeah.
And it allows for things like this, right? You know, you've already got the dock up in the middle for TaToH, already an eco lead here because of that early fishing ship out onto the map. And so he'll start to take off when it comes to the food income. It'll be up to Vinch to kind of match it or find a way to match or disrupt it.
Yeah, and some people might call it, ooh, there's an ugly tree in there. Just happy little accidents. Just a tree here.
Just a tree over there.
Give him a small friend.
Yeah. What was it the last series?
Do I see a cabin? Do I
What?
see a cabin there? That's a meme, but okay.
A meme I didn't understand.
Ah, okay. No, that's why I said it's a meme.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, Hindustani is obviously not crazy on this map in the sense like that they have any specific bonuses. It's more like, okay, we can contest early on and then get to a crazy army composition later on.
Oh, little pip.
Look at that.
Little
Flying
pip.
through
Ooh,
there.
it's not. I love
Oh,
this.
I want to see volley.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's David T90. Playing table tennis.
Did you see how Tristan served? He's not like doing it like my side, your side.
Yeah.
He like bounces it off on his side and then
And
just
then hits
volleys.
it. Oh, is that what he was doing to me earlier?
Yeah.
Because I played against him earlier.
I tried to explain it to him, but
That makes so much more sense to me now. All right. Well, we're gonna have to get some more official house rules written out there for ping pong or table tennis.
yeah.
At that.
I will add it in the next handbook.
Thank
NAC5 handbook will include table tennis serve
Yes,
rules.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for those continued donations adding to the prize pool here at NAC4. As we've already got the Feudal Age clicked here for TaToH. Again, that's one of the advantages of being Persians, is getting that food count up nice and early. Vinch not too far behind. After Loom, we'll click up to Feudal Age. And one more eco to boot for him.
And now, obviously, like your docks work faster as well there with Persians. So, like your fire galley count should be out quicker, should produce faster. If you ever lose water, your dock has more HP as well. So Vinchester can never feel really happy contesting water here. And I think there needs to be a follow-up. Only one villager on gold right now. What's this approach?
Yeah, it was a very early villager placed, and he'll move 2 more as we speak over there. So both players 3 on gold means that they'll be able to produce out of a singular dock, no problem. Second dock, though, going up for TaToH as well. Yeah, Persians are so hard to dislodge from water. We saw even in that series with Nicov and Yo. Nicov got forced off of water for a bit, and he had a dock that literally lasted for 10 minutes being attacked by 2 fire galleys.
Yeah.
Like, the sticking power of the Persians is quite incredible. But 2 fire galleys immediately in production here for TaToH on water. I still believe only 1 dock for Vinch. And so it's a question of you know, really how much does Vinch want to invest? Ooh, okay. Sneaky dock. Well, this kind of goes back to game number 1, where he put 1 dock forward, and TaToH wasn't able to see it early, got full control of water, so maybe thinking a similar thing.
And greedy Nili would do like 2 fire galleys and already queue up fishing ships behind it. Because I wouldn't think like, okay, you only have 1 dock, like I'm going to win it, let's start the boom. And then I would lose all my 8 fishing ships and would lose the game that way.
All right, TaToH not as greedy as Nili, though, does put 1 more fire galley into production after the first 2 come out. Already
Scout
harassing.
sees it. Beautiful.
Wow, great scouting here from TaToH.
Yeah, sees it instantly there. That is just beautiful.
Yep, phenomenal. And then again, another fire galley in production, a demo behind that. So TaToH going to be very, very hard to overcome on water here from Vinch. At this point, you have to start asking yourself the question of whether or not you really want to compete for the water itself or just look to remove those fishing ships from the Persian player and say, hey, I'll deal with it. Maybe I'll deal with taking back water later in the game.
And this is interesting. TaToH not trying to kill those docks. He rather wants to protect his fishing ships. Obviously makes quite some sense at the start, right? Because you will never get the kill against the dock anyways. Keeps up production. 4 fire galleys, 1 demo is probably where he will stop. And now that's typically the moment where both players are going for an archer range.
Yeah, barracks on its way up for Vinch. I don't see one yet, though, for TaToH. So maybe a little bit slower to the land military. Yeah, not quite yet for him. So again, heavy investment in water, which is great. He's going to own the water
Demo
for a period of time. Demo looking for the snipe onto the scout.
Doesn't want to.
Not quite.
Yeah. What if an interesting decision, like 13 HP scout. Oh, fire galley might tickle a bit more.
No, but what is the value of that scout, right?
I think I would have committed with the demo, but
yeah,
I think he's doing so much damage anyways here.
Will chase it away. Doesn't quite get the kill. Checking back in with Vinch. The archery range is going down now, so it's going to be a transition to land for him. Now TaToH getting his barracks up. In response, dropping an early tower on the gold. So I think he realizes at this point that his only real weakness is on land and getting caught off guard with some early pressure before he gets his own military out onto the field. So love to see that.
Persian's so good there. 10 out of 13 games won for them. And facing 10 out of those 13 games against Khmer. So kind of interesting. That's why we were so surprised having Frigid Lake here to see Khmer on Hippo Arena.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But that's part of the thing about sets like this is as soon as one civ pick on a map goes counter to your expectation, it changes the approach to every map from that point forward.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're in Vinch or TaToH's position, you're going, well, I thought that would have been used here, so then what is he going to substitute in for it? And it's the mind games of it all.
And I saw TaToH sitting there with Jordan and Viper, and the 3 of them exo file open and discussing potential civ matchups as well. Demo now tries to get there, but both players looking at it at the same time, so would be surprised if we see a massive connection.
Potential goes for it. It's decent damage. You do already have the lead on water here, so I don't think TaToH's going to be too upset about this. Another demo coming in, looking for a snipe. Does get 1 fishing ship. So Vinch putting up a fight, but not enough to overwhelm on water. I think the question again becomes, when does he move out with a small squad of archers to look to do forward damage? TaToH, though, already walls up for the majority of his base.
The top, the left, or the back walled as well. Would love to see the walls there if we actually walled at the top wood line. That seems to be connected. And that means TaToH won't suffer too much from the low archer numbers.
I was going to say, good news for TaToH, too. I think on the minimap we see the archers moving to the northern side. And so because of that, they're going to run into the walls that are already completed. It's mostly a guessing game as a player, 50-50, but you went to the side that's already completely walled, which means you're not going to get a ton of damage done. Maybe pull a villager for some idle time.
And TaToH even super safe, goes for the defensive tower next to his gold there at the front as well. Like, he really didn't want to take any damage.
Yeah, he placed that very early too, so he was very aware that this was a possibility. Vinch will get the vision of that just now, understands, okay, I can't pressure this forward gold placement from TaToH anymore. So I'm going to try and loop around, but probably just by a pathing perspective, he already knows that he's walled on that side because he was probably clicking in and realizing there it is. They keep trying to path underneath this turret, so he's going to retreat with the archers.
The only thing that Vinchester killed this game was 1 fishing ship, and that was even not the prettiest trade, investing a demo for it.
No. Yeah, and on the other side, lost 2 fishing ships to TaToH, but TaToH with a 4 eco lead. again, feels very good as Persians as your TC continues to pump out villagers at a slightly faster rate.
So demo again, trades of 1 for 1. TaToH will take that. And thing is though, lots of walls investment, the tower there as well. Resource collected, pretty even. And I think TaToH will only be ahead by like 30 seconds when it comes to Castle Age timing.
Yeah, near dead even when it comes to those resources collected. We take a look at the food and gold counts for both players, 500, 300. So lockstep as per usual. We did have a market going up for TaToH though back at home, so maybe a little bit of, oh, but Vinch is faster to it. He's gonna buy some food, sell some wood. It's just 50 away in the food count from clicking up. And so will be the first, it looks like, to Castle Age. TaToH now himself making use of that market.
Is that a stable there that TaToH is building? It feels like it, right? And, oh no, that's a blacksmith. Okay. Well, we still didn't get anything early
Stable
on.
for Vinch.
Okay, so what is the army composition here? Like, camel crossbow is not really continuing to produce archers. Maybe Vinch just goes double TC, 5 camel or something.
You saw the tower. And maybe that's all the permission you need to go into 3 TCs.
Yeah. Unlikely that a lot of aggression is coming up. You know you lost the water, want to catch up with the economy. And yeah, Hindustani's got a nerf. Villager discount was nerfed quite a bit. But still, you love to build those villagers.
Yeah, archers cleared up here on the south side. So TaToH now knows that those aren't much of a threat. But as we said, we've got the first armor upgrade coming in for the cavalry for Vinchester, so already looking to make a tech switch. A minute away from Castle Age.
And then we have to think about it. Like, if we think about very late game, Hindustanis have crazy options. Imperial camels can get to Gulam. We can go for crazy hand cannoneers. And Persians, every unit that I would list you would be countered quite heavily. So TaToH could even consider playing massive Castle Age here. He has the map control, he has the vision, so not impossible that that will be his choice.
Yeah, Gulams can become very scary too. Again, this is very similar to that first map that we saw in this set where it looks like one player is going to have full control of the center of the map with water, and the other will look to branch out to the sides. They're just in a flipped position this time around. Vinch the one playing land and a little bit more of the water play for TaToH. Crossbow coming in though for him now. So still a solid threat to these wood lines. Going to wait for the click, yeah, or for the upgrade to come through.
It's, I think 40 wood left.
Yeah.
We are selecting both trees.
Oh, you think he's waiting for the tree to go?
Yeah, it's 40 wood, I believe. Right, 37.
Okay.
On villager. Oh, TaToH waits.
Wow, such patience, such patience. I would be in there trying to snipe just a few kills at this point.
Not TaToH. TaToH has fletching though. I think there are no attack stands. He's waiting. 20 seconds.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Bodkin click as well.
2 villagers.
13.
10 wood.
10 wood. And with 2 villages on it. Yep, this is about to go down. So is TaToH, is he watching it like a... Oh, no, not with a... What? No way! With 3 wood!
People in a way!
Oh, there's... Oh, my God.
This was so fortunate for Vinchester.
He is going to force the villagers back. They could still safely build this TC from the other side, but oh my goodness. With one Vill go, I feel like Vinch got away with murder there.
Oh, God. Absolutely. This could have been game over there.
Oh, my
TC
goodness.
not going up, he loses 8 villagers.
Oh, I wanted to see that patience pay off for TaToH. He waited for so long, got all of his upgrades, 3 wood away from having his opening. It's not like he didn't find any damage. He did get 1 Vill pick. He's going to force some more Vills off of another wood line. He does have forward pressure, but as you say, what could have been a game-ending play gets stopped in its tracks.
Such a fortunate move there for Vinchester, and yeah, look at that. Only 4 villagers on that woodline. It could have been like completely shattered economy.
Yeah. 3 TCs for both players. TaToH did have to buy the stone to get those 2 extra TCs up, but both looking to boom up quite a bit. TaToH with a significant lead, though, in that regard. Again, Persians will just continue to extend that lead.
Hide-and-seek champions here. TaToH's crossbow group forces some idle time. And he obviously can always retreat to the water. TaToH even thinks about the very long game. Takes that aggressive relic.
Wow. Love it. Great heads-up play. Yeah, 2 monks out onto the map, looking to pick up as many relics as possible. Even has his scout still doing work, right? Tracking the different relics. Should have caught those camels on their way forward. Again, he's fully walled, so shouldn't have too much difficulty dealing with them, but I believe that scout did cross paths with them. So as long as he was paying attention, gets those house walls up at home. 4th TC now here for Vinch. He knows he's got to play a game of catch-up, and that's what he's going to look to do.
Okay, and now some aggression here against those houses. 2 villagers around, though. TaToH not really having the greatest answers, though, right? 12 crossbows, 6 of them at the front.
No.
Pressing the gold a bit.
He'll get he's got a monk in the queue, so I'm sure monk behind the walls will help to push those camels away a little bit. Able to repair the house. 6 crossbows is enough from behind walls to pressure those camels back. We've got a university coming up for TaToH as well, so maybe Bodkin, or not Bodkin, Ballistics. Going to make it a little bit easier for him if those crossbows ever do get back to a wood line to find some nice easy snipes. And admittedly, all of...
Oh, demo prepared. Demo prepared on water here.
I mean, we have to expect it, right?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to expect
Vinchester should never be there. Especially like Golden Swamp already happened as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. We had 2 big demos in that game. And possibly more in this one. There's the ballistics click for TaToH. So just has to keep his archer numbers alive. Keep those crossbows massed. And they'll be a really big threat throughout the Castle Age.
Okay, and the gold is really exposed. I think Vinchester needs to build a siege workshop at home. Otherwise, he can't deal with that. Main gold blocked. He has good gold to the left, though. And all the TCs there. So it's not like a must to control this gold for him.
Yeah, is going to have to pull some of these villages away, though. Recognizes that they aren't in the safest position. Camels still looking for their angle of attack. Technically, that wood line is open. Don't know if TaToH would be bold enough to run through it.
Nice move there. Saved the villager. Farm. Oh, demo's coming in. One camel throws itself in there.
He catches it with 1 demo, but does he have the awareness to pull them away? He does. I would say an ineffective demo, or at least not getting what you wanted out of it. A nice little cleanup here for the camels, but not without losing a few.
Yeah, some idle TC behind this, as you see. Like 6 idle villagers forced at this time. Now, market being used quite heavily. Buys himself enough stone to build a castle. And that means TaToH needs to switch away from crossbows because he can't do anything against Gulam.
Wow, but a very defensive castle.
Scout sees it. Both players know about exactly what's happening.
How many vills you got? Oh, look at that. He pulls the whole. He pulls the town. The whole town has been called to help build this one.
Makes sense.
Yeah, love to see it. Still, these crossbows can kind of work their way around and possibly be a threat in the back, dropping a couple houses just to make sure they don't have an easy path into the back of his eco. On the front, though, look how many camels went down.
Oh, yeah, because he was so focused on the clutch castle save, right?
Yeah.
Can't be there at all times. With
28
everywhere.
military to 6 now. Huge military losses there for Vinch. So TaToH, maybe with a little bit of military momentum, can look to get more damage done.
Next step of TaToH, he will drop 4 stables and will play crossbow knight. Give me 2. I will take 2. I will take 2. Maybe he was limited in wood.
Yeah, actually, he's at 155, right? So he can't drop another one just yet. Might follow it up with a couple more stables. Behind that, already has the first armor upgrade in, bringing in wheelbarrow as well, just to make sure that his eco is in a beautiful spot going forward. Still with an eco lead and a military lead. TaToH's firmly in the driver's seat.
Oh, yeah. And Gulam, look at that. No upgrades on them.
Oh, just throwing them away at this point. Without a single defensive upgrade, they melt still.
Oh boy.
Crossbows.
Now the speed is coming in. War galleys even reaching that goal. TaToH's getting into really good position. No more upgrades. I think TaToH will heavily commit in Castle Age here.
I agree with that fully. You already see second upgrade here and another stable getting dropped. So making his way to that magic number of 4. But now you're starting to feel that castle placement for Vinch. Not that I'm disagreeing with it. You needed to protect that eco, but you don't have the option to protect this gold now, and TaToH realizes it, and he's going to make sure he puts the pressure on.
Yeah, the only option would have been maybe Siege Workshop earlier, trying to defend with like 2-3 Scorpions at home, and then you can maybe delete the house, get the castle up here at the front, and get a bit more protection. But as we said earlier, there is still safe gold at the left-hand side for Vinchester.
Yeah, TaToH heard you say Siege Workshop, and he said, hey, that's a great idea. I'll drop one forward now. And so, again, going to continue to put the pedal to the metal. We've got Bloodlines, Husbandry, Forging coming in. He is full commitment to the Castle Age here.
And TaToH used his map control wisely. Is at 4 relics here, can still go back. And, well, look at, when was the last time we saw that many crossbows from a Persian player in Castle Age?
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Especially if you're not going for some kind of meme play with the castle upgrade.
Commander run there to maybe later go for all those crossbows without the investment of gold. All that transitioned into wood, then we could easily see 70. Okay, someone is really happy here. Walking into the decider potentially here.
Very much so. We might be going to the full 5 for the second set in a row. Castle going down for Vinchester over here, continuing to try and protect his all-important farming eco, but just can't keep the military numbers out on the field. He's still in the single digits, Nili.
And now, are the Ghulams raiding the Hindustani player? What is happening here?
Never a good sign when you've donated military units over to your opponent and they're using them to great effect, harassing those villagers. Will still manage to get the castle up. But now he's chasing knights through his own eco and really only has this gold at his disposal because that front gold can get ranged by these galleys if he so chooses, these war galleys.
Double ram. That will completely open all the center of the map. And Vinchester, he needs to make sure if he at one point is trying to go in, that he doesn't use the starting position.
And look who's up to him.
Yeah.
We had said full-on Castle Age play, and yes, he continued to produce in Castle and really put the pressure on, but still finds his way to clicking up to Imp. TaToH is firing on all cylinders. Forward now with a castle of his own. This is a get-out-of-my-game castle right here.
Looks like those 3 monks scaring away the Ghulams there. Now the attack upgrade and more rams following this one up as well. TaToH with a beautiful map position for himself.
I almost wonder if when you see these villagers start to build this castle, if that's enough for you to say it's over. You don't have the military to contest it through those war galleys. It's such a well-placed castle with the defense of the naval units. We'll see. He's going to make his best effort here. Lots of Ghulams now massed on the top side. Finally having those armor upgrades and perhaps forging along with the castles. Is it enough to pressure TaToH back?
Sensing everything, but that would be a beautiful spot for the demos. Oh, I'm getting scared for Vinchester again.
2 big demos coming in, looking for shots. There's one, gets a few Ghulams. Now another. They're being microed away, but I'm not sure it's enough.
Oh, that was so good, and it finishes the game. TaToH indeed forces the decider.
Whew. It's going to be a long day. Strap in, everybody. We're here for a marathon. And I couldn't be more excited about it. Beautiful play out of TaToH to get that one. I mean, Persians, he's showing why they are such a top-tier pick, the top-tier pick on that map.
Yeah, and if you're a Persian lover and want to see more of them on Frigid Lake, you have to watch today.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because every single day we add another ban. On Wednesday, we'll have 4 bans for each player going into it, and I don't think Persians will survive that phase.
If Frigid Lake is in the map pool, quick ban.
Yeah.
Quick ban. If I don't have first pick.
Yeah.
Or I let you pick it and it's my snipe. But either way, you know, yeah, I'm with you. It'll be today or nothing, most likely, for the Persians. But there you have it. Pressure's on. It's a best of 1 between these players at this point in our Swiss system. You want to get that set victory. It's nice to get the some map victories as well, of course, even if you do end up going down. But fortified clearing will be our decider.
Oh, and
Portuguese.
This will be full mind games, right? Berbers, Saracens, both great picks in my opinion, but Poles, Portuguese, in my opinion, better picks. Poles so diverse, crazy economy, you can tower rush, you have the crazy upgrade there, you can go for like Castle Age, and Portuguese, easy stiff to go for a crazy all-in.
Or is there any advantageous matchup for the...
Can we take a look at the lonely... lonely.
Cut to the main stage, please. This man is playing Connect 4 against himself. Also, I just want to call this out because it did not get caught on camera earlier today when I showed up. Dave challenged me to a game of Connect 4. He was very, very confident. Promptly lost within 10 moves.
10 moves? 10 moves?
About, yeah. It was either 10 or 12. It was not a very competitive game. I like it, though. We need the side-angle camera here to get a sense of the map state on this Connect 4 game.
Are you winning, son? I'm
yeah,
busy.
Oh, he's
okay,
busy.
Okay.
Oh, sorry for interrupting. Oh. Oh!
Oh! One move away from winning there.
Wow. Bullying.
Feels bad, man. Okay.
Bullying.
Decider on the way soon.
So I was going to ask, is there any advantageous matchup? You know, because again, in the mind game.
I feel like Poles should not have good answers to Berbers.
Okay.
If we get to Camel Archers there.
So is that enough for you to know if you're in Vinch's position to just go with the Portuguese? because you don't want to take the chance of ending up in a Poles v Berbers matchup.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd go for Portuguese here. It is also not that predictable what you're going for on Fortified Clearing, right? Big change to the TTL version of Fortified Clearing, for example. We can't wall the outside. So you can play a bit more aggressively here. You can go for some sneaky attacks. That makes Saracens a bit more viable, right? Archer attack on the outside, crossbow timings are a thing. Siege pushes on the outside are a thing as well. And I think Portuguese could deal with those quite nicely.
All right, so there you have it. The expectation is the Portuguese. And then it's really about TaToH's preference. It is interesting to me, though, that we are in a situation where TaToH's remaining civs are his final picks versus 2 of the top 3 picks here for Vinch. So Vinch kind of keeping something in his back pocket there. He's keeping a power pick for the 5th and final game. So it might take a bit of an outplay here for TaToH to find his way to a 3-2 victory.
Will be interesting, certainly there, and both players obviously trying to stay hydrated here. TaToH already worked through nearly full of his glass there, and signature civs won't really help us, but signature unit kind of worked out, I would say.
Oh,
demo,
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Already, I'd say the demo play has delivered here on day 1 of the tournament. Known for off-meta strategies as well. That's where, to me, I'm leaning towards Saracens, just because market play gives you more options, just to do something wacky and wild. You know, you can, if you recognize what the Portuguese player, again, assuming Portuguese, if you recognize what the Portuguese player is going for, well, what? Doesn't matter, because we've ended up in a Poles v Saracen matchup. It will once again be Vinchester in the red here as the Poles up against TaToH in the blue as the Saracens. It is set point here. Both players looking for their 3rd and final win to take their first victory of NAC4.
And Des, no matter who wins, you have to pick their brain in the after interview. What was going through their head, decision-wise there?
Yeah, I'll ask that very same question.
Yeah,
if you had the opportunity to be in a matchup of Poles versus Berbers, why did you take that risk, right? But we'll see. All that said, he ended up in Poles v Saracens.
Yeah.
So
I thought it would have been. Well, we are seeing this one, and I love to see it, right? I love the diversity here. And TaToH, so known for his Saracen strategies.
Absolutely. 4 vills on wood for Vinch, as compared to the 3 for TaToH. Oh, full work, obviously.
And, well, that will be interesting to see how much farming Vinchester is going to go for. Obviously, those drop off the extra food for him. And then probably the most broken upgrade we have in the game right now, at least. Well, a lot of people are complaining about it. Privileges here.
Yeah.
60% gold reduction there.
I think it's properly named, though, in that regard. It is a privilege to have the most broken tech in the game. Yeah, Schlatka privileges, making those knights cost 60% less gold. It just enables the flood.
Yeah. So we are basically expecting the option to go for a lot of cavalry, if it's hussars, if it is cavaliers, and then it comes in quite handy that your camels are so good here if you're Saracens.
Exactly. So I'm not super mad about this matchup if I'm TaToH, knowing that I have a solid counter to one of the most likely plays from the Poles. If you ever do manage to get into a large Mameluke number as well, they can be quite scary, however rarely that might happen.
And, well, Mamelukes obviously, well, would be the dream. I think Poles, what would be the answer? Probably Arbalest then?
It would have to be. You have to play the range matchup, I think. Yeah. Where you're just, and you know what? Hey, if I'm Vinch, I'm not mad about being in an RV, Mameluke matchup as well, considering my confidence in my micro and control over those units.
So do we think if this game goes above 45 minutes, that Saracens should have the better spot?
I mean, all things equal at that point, I would say yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so we're equal Vill numbers. But I think the fear, for a Saracens player is pull food eco with those, and then with Schlatka privileges, you could just get overwhelmed and not really have a choice. Also, again, Mamelukes, like many other ranged units, need to be grouped in mass. I could be throwing cav around the sides if I'm the pole player and looking to harass your eco, while, again, you're a little bit more relegated to trying to get up the gut and through the middle of the map.
TaToH up relatively soon. Wants to avoid that fight. Obviously knows if I can survive to Feudal Age with some reasonable HP, I will get the kill. Kind of interesting, the barracks. And we will see that Vinchester, also with Pop 22, will get the intel, sees the barracks, now trying to run away. He knows he can't be up earlier.
Yep, and so immediately diverts his scout, right? Says, okay, I don't want to be in a position where you can take that fight with the added speed that you'll get and the added attack that you'll get when Feudal Age is hit. TaToH looking for that scout, has a sense of where he's going, and as soon as he gets to Feudal, expanded vision means he'll be able to chase that scout down.
And 2 villages, where are they going? Market?
Okay,
Oh, stable.
Stable.
Okay.
Stable.
That's so weird, yeah. He's not on gold at all. Chases this one down. Goes for a double eco upgrade. So it will be a scout rush on the outside.
All right, some aggression. You can already see how Vinch is looking to wall up for some safety, using his barracks as the beginning of that wall. Second full work dropped already, but no farms yet.
That's for a house, but he's building more houses there. I
was going to say...
He's just waiting for Feudal Age and then mass farming.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. We've got the eco upgrade clicks as soon as will be finished before the farms get finished.
2 villagers? No. Okay, microed that one. Obviously, the farm must not finish before the upgrade.
And there you have it. Perfectly timed. A second after Horse Collar comes in, chopping that straggler to open up some space around the full work. Wants to make full use of the space around that. 8 farms per full work.
And I think lots of damage would be crazy to expect from TaToH, right?
I mean, look at this. Vinch is going for very conservative walls, right? He knows that that scout pressure might be coming forward. He's already got some spearmen out onto the field and in production. He'll complete those walls near no problem. A little interesting to me that he's bringing that spear forward as opposed to keeping it back at home just in case.
He wants to know if there are archers.
Oh, does find it. Gets a hit.
Gets a yoink.
Likes it, and now he'll chase it back. But wall's almost complete here for Vinchester, and TaToH does not have enough scouts forward to really threaten anything into those spearmen. So Vinch is going to happily continue to place down farms every time he's got the wood to do so. And at this rate, will be much faster in the food count to Castle Age.
And yeah, fully walled now. TaToH obviously knows, okay, very unlikely that I'll find too much damage. Only build 1 single scout. And this, okay, I saw stonewalls and I felt like, what, he's already stonewalled? Well, yeah, he is, but that was the map, not himself.
Yep. Dropping the market, though, so Saracens will make great use of that. The market itself, cheaper to build in terms of its wood cost. You get much better prices, and so might be able to match Vinch in the uptime if he sells effectively here.
If he sells stone, he will be up early.
Yeah, wow.
And now the question, like, what is your follow-up? Do you follow up, like, Monk Rush through the center?
I was going to say bring Vils forward on this to the back. Yeah, and drop a siege workshop.
Ooh, okay. And then you can go for...
Because I'm quicker through your palisade walls, and I would rather threaten your full works, I think, and your farming eco. Because you've made your base so small. I think you've invited that kind of pressure, and I'd be a little bit worried about having to push through stone walls. I mean, I guess if you go ram first, it doesn't take you too long to push through those stone walls.
Yeah.
I think both are options, right? It's going to be his preference.
He goes for the blacksmith, kind of saying, okay, siege workshop is something he will think about.
There's the click. Right as he gets the resources, Vinch has enough food, but not enough gold. Still 80 away, so...
Look at how TaToH is sending 2 scouts on the inside now. He tries to find the relic positioning. That's a guaranteed... I think... Is he playing scouts here? I see everything, and I still don't know how the next minute looks like.
And now he's building an archery range.
What? Is he doing... I have to build everything challenge?
It's the AI army challenge. It's one of everything.
He's going into CA.
To win the game. CA? Saracens? CA? Well, I guess.
They're crazy in upgrades.
Right.
Obviously, Poles suffer that they don't have the last armor upgrade. So if we get into like mass heavy CA, those Cavaliers, yeah, they can mass, but TaToH can do something. They can also harass. Rush distance is really long. He is heavily on gold and wood anyways, so can squeeze in the monastery. I don't hate it.
Okay.
I would not have seen that option.
No, I mean, last thing I would have expected was an archery range built there, but it does go down, and we've got fletching on its way in.
So archery range, so yeah.
Yeah, very clearly that's going to be his intent. But that, to me, makes a siege play less
there's no
sustainable because you're not going to have the wood income
he's
to
not going
support it
to
all.
do it. I think he will go for like 8 CA and will try to get low economy with the relics. Like an 80 villager imp, and then like adjust a bit with the CA that he has.
Alrighty, well, 5 seconds away from Castle. We've got another stable going down here for Vinch, so that's not going to surprise anyone that the pole player is teching into the stable units. Bodkin, the first click here for TaToH, 2 Cav Archers in the queue.
I feel so smart coming up
with
these
smart.
With these like the descriptions for the players, right? I said like signature of TaToH, like creative off-meta strategies. We have never seen like one scout into CA on a Stonewall map, and the demos, and also the archer attack with Vinch. So I'm a bit proud of myself. Only Vinch was missing Goth. Maybe it was it was not.
Nah, but I think the Goss is the long play. That's later in the tournament. Again, when he gets forced to it, the Goss will come out.
Okay.
So TC being dropped for Vinchester, whereas TaToH remains on
Wolf
1.
Killed a unit. Look at the KD.
Did it really?
Yeah. Okay.
It had to have killed a spear, though, because an eco unit didn't die, right? So it had to have been a spear.
Yeah. Okay, that happened. And double stable now without the upgrade. That's pretty generic. Obviously, you get a lot of food. That's pretty for you. But TaToH won't mind this.
But you can already see he can't keep producing out of 2 stables because he doesn't have the gold count yet. 3 on gold for Vinch means that 3 knights are out onto the field, but doesn't even have the gold yet to produce another. Just now getting to that point. And the Cav Archers are forward. So we're getting our first look at the Cav Archers. I wonder how Vinch will respond to that.
30C. He thinks he can hold this. And just opens. TaToH goes away.
Yeah, has faith in his knight numbers right now. And 3 knights against 4 Cav Archers is going to deal with them no problem. Not so much threaten any kills, but prevent the Cav Archers from making too much of any forward progress. Re-walls right behind it. Back to farming.
TaToH adds a town center at home, now buys another stone, so it will be the 3 TC play inside his base. Still no monastery. Tries to pressure this area, tries to basically force more reaction. He doesn't think he can do any damage, but just you sitting there doing damage against the walls forces the opponent to go for more knights, forces them into bloodlines, and potentially even the second armor upgrade.
And I love the placement of the Cav Archers here on the woodline, right? You've recognized how restricted your opponent is in space because of his own choice in wall placement. And so using those ranged units to great effect, just to constantly force your opponent to make some micro decisions and things like that. Some camels out onto the field as well for TaToH to make quick work of those knights. Going to come in with the Cav Archers. Does see a Scorpion, microing it down. And even actually targeting some villagers here. Gets 1 Vil pick. Will look to retreat now, losing no military units as a result.
Nice.
Yeah, there's that monastery that you just asked for, too, getting dropped at home. So finally, some attempts at picking up relics will be made. Taking a look at Vinch's perspective here as he manages the eco at home, looking for prime forward placements. Unfortunately, he's getting a little cramped at this point. That full work probably only going to be able to support 6 out of the 8 maximum possibility.
Center?
TC in the center.
Ooh.
Will TaToH get anything out into the center of the map to catch that? I see 1 unit sitting in the center of the map, or 2 scouts. If he were to catch it, those... Oh! In just this moment, he'll see it, but 1 light cav I don't believe will be enough to prevent that TC from going up, but at least has the awareness that Vinch is trying to expand out into the middle of the map and is moving to a 4th TC.
Wow, and that means, okay, you're expecting your opponent to play a long Castle Age. I'm a bit surprised that we go 4th TC without being heavily on stone here for Vinchester, right? Because if you go 4 TC, you kind of want to go big economy, spam out those knights. That's not really going to happen.
Yeah, and are you not now very much inviting an earlier Imperial time from the Saracen player? Like, I would look at this point for TaToH to, not quite yet, but very soon cut Vil production, market for the final resources I need, and get myself up to Imp.
Or 2nd Stable and Siege Workshop. And try to put...
And just pressure it right now.
Mangonel and Camels there, right? Doesn't take the foot off the gas in the Camel production. 2 more in the queue. Kind of stopped CA production there. Is at 6 right now. Lumbercamp here and there. Siege Workshops. The TaToH wants to punish this TC.
Yep. 5 camels for himself out onto the field. 2 more in the queue. 1 monk on the field. Another one in the queue as well. Already looking to move out, snag those relics. Knights coming forward will get vision of the Siege Workshop. I think that's very, very big. Also has the outpost coming up, so he won't be surprised by too much. Will he get the walls down? No, he doesn't. Unfortunately, this villager will go down. Does get a conversion. No way he got that quick wall.
Oh boy, I want to see this as a replay from TaToH's POV, because he misclicked there something with the stone walls and he saved it beautifully afterwards.
He converts 2 Knights on top of it. 2 of the 3 Knights. Yes, maybe this monk goes down, but you've already actually... Okay, the monk does go down, but you've already moved the Relic into a prime position. Villager has permission to go back to that Siege Workshop. Will get healed up by the remaining monk. What a huge play from TaToH in that moment.
That was disaster into brilliancy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Oh, that's got to feel good. And in Game 5 as well, that's the kind of energy you need to be injected into yourself at that moment. Castle being dropped here now, but has to drop it so close to that TC for any opportunity to go up. And you can even see with these Cav Archers here, he doesn't feel like he can do it.
And the Camels now coming over for the Scorpions. They are getting pushed away. Only one single Knight on the map.
Okay, he's going to sacrifice one to save the others, but he cannot bring those Scorpions forward. And TaToH now, with 6, 7 Camels, 2 Knights, 6 Cav Archers. I mean, it's going to take a year for this castle to go up one villager at a time.
Mangano. Oh, this will be really tricky for Vinchester. He has to sacrifice so much.
Oh, what a tough spot that he's in right now. He's bringing those Scorpions forward, but one goes down already. Second one being targeted. The villager did get the repairs on it, but we're going to have a few more Camels swoop in, look for the kill. TaToH is throwing away a few units, but it is to remove any of the military presence that Vinchester has. And once again, full control over the center of the map, a half-built castle, and 15 idled villagers for Vinchester.
And this is the one where he quick-walled this one so beautifully and gets the conversion behind this one. Look at that at the front, and yeah, they even heard us in the replay.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, Siege Workshop going down in the middle here for Vinch. TaToH, he sees maybe his winning moment here. He comes forward with a castle of his own. Only 2 Knights here to try and threaten it. But those 2 Knights can't do anything against the Camel presence that TaToH has. It feels like this castle is a lock for going up.
Yeah, and that means no Castle Age upgrade for you. And TaToH, he gets more control of the gold, of the stone. Vinchester deletes and rebuilds the castle, but those are trapped villagers now.
All of those villagers, exactly, are going to go down as soon as they're ejected from the TC. Mangonel out, though, looking for the snipe. Would buy him a good amount of time. TaToH doesn't see it, but unfortunately, because of the hill advantage, he doesn't get the snipe. 2 Mangonels looking for the kill back. Does manage to get one. Does Vinch. Will lose his, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. He's starting to retreat with the villagers. Unfortunately, they have to run through Camels to get back to his base. Deletes the walls and does save a good number of them. Castle going up at home. Nili, the one thing I will say is through all of this time, Vinch has established a small villager lead. But he's lost a lot of map control.
He was 20 villagers ahead, though. Now it's 15, so quite some losses there. And TaToH is thinking about imping, while Vinchester just confirmed he will heavily commit to Castle Age. While TaToH has a castle, he can go for Mamelukes.
Yeah, he can go for Mamelukes. He can get those Trebs out nice and early. It's a well-positioned castle where he's going to have a decent amount of safety to approach those stone walls for Vinchester. Vinchester teching into the rest of the cavalry upgrades. He's going to get the privileges. He's looking to flood Knights onto the field, and I think in a lot of ways that's his only option. I come back to your point about the difference in this map being the difficulty to wall in the back. Perhaps that's Vinch's way back in.
Yeah,
Ignore the middle, go to the outsides, and really destroy the eco.
And I think that's why we see TaToH with 24 on stone, right? Obviously, it's better to sell the stone now to get gold, so that is actually more efficient in the economy way. But I think he wants to get a castle up at the bottom to protect his gold there.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. One castle on either flank to essentially box himself in.
Something like here could make lots of sense to me.
Exactly. Protect that farming eco. He's got plenty of gold at his own disposal. TaToH sitting pretty in this one. 1 minute and 30 seconds away from the Imperial Age.
He doesn't care about what I'm saying. He wants to put the pressure through the center.
Okay, double castle in the middle. He's already got a raiding force here on the left-hand side as well. Look at this. Vinch having to pull the villagers away from that gold. Doesn't have the knight numbers to contest these CA. Bringing a few over now at this point. Will possibly be able to push this force back. And he will do just that, buying himself a little time, a little space. grabbing wheelbarrow, looking for that infantry armor upgrade. It's full Castle Age play here for Vinchester, but he's going to have to find a way to deal with the pressure that's going to come through the middle of the map in just a minute's time.
And you see Vinchester, he looks a bit annoyed after he saw the raid there as well. He knows he needs to find damage ASAP. But now, no more night production. He's thinking about imping as well, but it will be 3.5 minutes late.
Yeah, all right. He thinks it's his best option here for a victory. And he isn't too far from the resources needed, but he'll be clicking up a few seconds after his opponent reaches that next age. There's the imp timing for TaToH, again using the market to make sure that he gets some gold, buys some food. Already 2 trebs in production.
Heavy Camel is something he needs to focus. Oh yeah, was clicking it very quickly, but was queued up behind Camel in an upgrade that takes endless. Like 100 seconds there, it just feels so long.
Yeah, it is a very, very long upgrade, but Castle Age Camels against Castle Age Knights, as with CA behind, is going to be able to defend this outside pressure that we talked about. Still does feel like Vinch's best opportunity, but you don't want to be taking these fights straight up.
Well, TaToH even feels like, yeah, I don't even need to wait for all my upgrades. This is such a good fight for me. I will love this anyways. And he can continue pushing, can raid the gold now as well. And that will give him so much breathing room. Now, if I was TaToH, I would expect the next attack come through the center. But he already has Mamelukes and a double cast setup. He shouldn't be scared about that.
Yeah, those trebs are very, very safe from any potential knight moves. And like you say, he bought himself so much time and so much space by relieving that pressure back at home. Now bringing that force around the outside, going to raid that gold that he raided just a moment ago. Continues to put pressure onto this castle. Vinch does have a good amount of stone in the bank, but he has to continue investing it into repairing this castle. Still a minute and 10 seconds away from Imp himself, teching into crossbows.
Oh, I think that patrol screwed up a bit there. That was a reasonable fight for Vinchester, but yeah, indeed. Vinchester is now checking into Arbalest plus Cavalier. A crazy army composition. But we need to get to those numbers first and need all the upgrades.
Yeah, only 7 knights on the field currently. 14 in the queue. Again, that's the privileges at work there. You can produce so many, but when you're fighting into a counter unit, I'm not sure it's worth it in the efficiency trades. At the end of the day, 3 trebs now out onto the field. The castle goes down, and TaToH feels like he has all of the permission he needs to push forward into Vinch's base. Only 1 castle still remains in the center of that eco as a last line of defense.
Yeah, somewhere in this apartment, T90 is screaming, Mameluke raid! Because they are moving in now at the wood line there as well. And like, I loved how we like talked about like, oh, what do you think about Mamelukes? And I was like, yeah, Dash, okay, I like you're the hype cast, all good. But we're actually seeing them, and they are working. There's no way Vinchester can engage into this.
No, we talked about too. It's about getting a certain solid number of those Mamelukes out onto the field. He's done just that, and you can see, again, your best attempt to deal with them is an Arbalest upgrade. So yes, we've got Bracer in here for Vinch, but you just don't have the numbers yet. You don't even have the Arbalest upgrade yet.
Another raid here at the left-hand side. Vinchester really struggling, didn't even have enough population as well. Cavalier upgrade, still a minute away. And TaToH, he has all the great answers. And his economy behind this is absolutely solid as well. 140 villagers there. Sometimes we see Saracens struggle with that.
That's TaToH's game for the taking, no doubt at this point. Vinch not entirely out of it yet, but he's going to have to find some magic to make it all happen. He does have solid knight numbers now, about to be cavalry. Clicks the Arbalest upgrade along with ballistics. If he can keep himself alive to the point where he's got 60-ish army on the field and it comes down to micro battles, maybe he can micro his way out of this one.
Now we're getting Zealotry. More HP for those camels and the Mamelukes. Could be really nice if we take the big engagements. And now we forced that one.
All right, cavalry coming in. They realize they're going to have to get something done here soon. That castle is not long for the world. We're almost out of stone for Vinchester as the Poles player. Arbalest comes in. That's all the permission he needs to take the fight. It's a last-ditch effort, but he's fighting into camels, Mamelukes, and Cav archers. I don't think it's going to be enough, Nili. The overwhelming numbers here for TaToH come through. He's pushing up the gut, and it looks like it's all but lost for Vinch.
What a series here. 2 great sets back-to-back, and TaToH takes it 3-2 with a brilliant civ, and I'll have to love it.
Wow. Full 5. It was a hard-fought battle. And you know what? I love to see a smile on the face of Vinch as that game concludes, though, too, right? Even on the losing end of it, he knows how well both players played today. TaToH coming out with just a small edge in game number 5.
What a really good one, and TaToH smiling there, and yeah, he has to love it. And I'm not even sure, what is he indicating there? Did you see all the villagers die after Mammoth came in?
He's like, did you see that demo in game number 1? Oh, I will never. That demo into the 10 crossbows from map 1, though, for me is still a highlight of this entire series, I think, without a doubt.
It gave him so much map control there as well, right?
But he ended up losing that game. That's what's incredible, is that Vinch still came back from what felt like a pretty disastrous loss of crossbows in that regard. So it speaks to the mental fortitude of the 2 players that we just saw play, but all of the players here at this tournament, where things that would maybe spell the end of the game for anyone else doesn't in this case. And these guys have a tremendous ability to recover, to stick in it, and find their way back in.
Yeah, pretty sweet. And microphones are ready, and TaToH is ready.
You want me to go?
I will send you over.
That's on me.
Yeah, he will send him over. As you all know, we will still have 3 more sets today, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant. And now let's send it over to Dash and TaToH.
I love that camera, man. TaToH, kicking it off with a victory. It's got to feel good, but you were pushed to the limit all 5 games. Feeling good right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. Vinchester is always really tough. Even in practice games, we always end like 50% to each other. So I think it was a really tough series, and I think he played really good as well.
Talk me through real quick civs and maps, because we got thrown for a bit of a loop by the Khmer pick into the Burgundians. The victory there made us immediately consider how that's going to warp civ drafts going forward for players, when in a lot of cases people have said it's going to be things like, Bohemians, Burgundians, Portuguese on those kinds of closed maps, and Khmer really, I think, threw a wrench in that cog for the whole rest of the tournament at this point.
Yeah, I think still I should have picked Burgundians in the draft before Khmer, but my idea was to pick Burgundians, and I wasn't planning to use Khmer.
You weren't planning to use them at all?
If I had Burgundians, I would have used them. Yeah. Khmer was only to avoid him to have them for freeze lake. But at the end, I practiced that as well, so I knew that Khmer was an option for Hip Arena. And at the end, he drafted Burgundians, and I couldn't.
Fair enough. Let's start working through the map. This right here, already set 2, highlight play for me. This demo, how good did that feel?
It feels good, always. Demos is always a good.
Look at Vince smile too. He knows what happened. In that
I actually did smile. I was so serious.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And then this as well. I mean, so walk me through this here, because you definitely felt like you were on the back foot without having control of the center gold and the water. Last-ditch effort at this point. You felt like Castle had to go up for you to have a chance?
Yeah, I think I should have done the castle earlier, to be fair, because at some point I think his economy was weak, and then I will try to overrun him with castle before he could mass a heavy camel. But at the end, I missed like maybe 1 minute on the timing, and he managed to get heavy camel, and then I think I was completely dead.
I had high hopes for these 3 sneak villagers here, but great quick walling out of Vinch. Phenomenal heads-up play from him.
Yeah.
As you say, the Hussar rating looked like it was doing enough damage to maybe wrestle you back into it. But game 1 goes the way of Vinchester. This series countered to the first series of the day, which was 2 for one player, 2 for another, and then back. This one was trading maps back and forth. For you, mentally, how do you reset? What is your approach when you take a loss in a game? Like, how do you hop back on the horse and take game 2 like this?
Well, it depends on how I feel like playing, right? Like in this case, even if I lost the game 1, I felt like I played really good. It was just like Vinchester was better in that case, but I felt like, okay, I'm playing good, I'm on point, I can still give my best, and I just focused on the next game. I didn't think too much about game 1, and just try to get in the mood for the others.
Map 3 here, we had Gurjaras versus Mayans.
He is sneaky.
Yes, I was about to ask your thoughts here on this raid in the beginning. I mean, the initial couple archers that were able to come in looked like you had pushed them away, just weren't able to track them.
Yeah, I thought he was going back because he probably didn't want to lose them, but he is sneak again, and that was a bit annoying. I think it was a really good move by him because he knew that it was the only spot where he could do more damage. And he managed to escape with the 2 eagles, although I killed them later. But I think it was a good move by him because also like I had to move my army back, so he had the chance to be safe at home.
Yeah, in general, you were taking a lot of pressure in this game. First of all, actually, this was a phenomenal find. Was this just like?
Well, I felt
How did
like
you know to go here in this exact moment?
I had the camel patrolling on the north, so I say, okay, he needs to go to the south because, or he's not in the middle at all. Or, I mean, on the outside, and it was pure luck basically. I felt like it was the time to move out, and at the same time I was okay. He's not on the north because I have my camel patrolling there, so I will try. I will send my army to the south and see if he's there. At least to have some information.
You say pure luck, but that's playing with the information you don't have, right? Like you see, if I know he's not here, and my timing, because you were moving to the north kind of at the same moment, so it's natural that he must be going to the other side. Now, that said, you chose to throw your first castle up in the north as opposed to at home when you were taking a lot of pressure in the middle of the map. How do you feel you dealt with the pressure that he was initially sending at you?
It's tricky, right? I thought that I could hold at home and just having the castle to get the unique tech, so I could spam units and then maybe like try to surprise that he doesn't expect me. But I don't know, like if I build the castle at home, I will be safe.
You were watching the wood count on that tree. Right?
Yes. I actually had the archers on non-attack stance for a while.
We sat there and watched the whole time. From like 40 wood on that tree, the camera did not move. We literally sat there and waited. And then this play as well. The quick wall. This felt like we said it went from disaster to brilliance. Like saving the villager, getting double conversions in all of this. Vil gets back to complete the siege workshop as well. This felt like it was very much a series that kind of lived on a knife's edge, right? A couple of moments like that go the other way, and it could have been, a series that went the other way. Poles, Saracens. We were discussing Civ matchup possibilities for that last map because he had Portuguese in the tank. And it feels almost to a degree criminal to not use Portuguese. Is that what you were expecting to play into, or did you see the Poles pick coming?
Well, he first picked Poles on the draft, right? So
that is true.
Actually, I was expecting Poles in Hoip Arena.
Right.
But when he used Burgundians, okay, I knew that Poles was going to be for 45 clearing.
Okay.
And I think Portuguese is a good option. But on that map, it's not that strong as it will be on Arena. Because you have more room.
You cannot.
You can run, And also, I feel like people still is learning how to stop at least the all-in-ish push. At least, like coming forward, you can try to avoid that. That is probably the hardest weapon of Portuguese. So I felt like it was going to be Poles 100%.
Fair enough. It was beautiful play. The Cav Archers was interesting very early on, but very effective, just for kind of harassing, keeping him penned in to his base there. 3-2 victory for you. I'm sure you're aware, you've never finished below 4th at an NAC event.
I know.
It's always been 4th or higher. So I'll ask the same question that was asked to Yo earlier. How confident you are going into this event, maybe where you expect to finish, what you would consider like a bare minimum success here at the event?
Well, I think like the competition is way higher now than it was back in the other NECs. So I think top 4 already will be a huge achievement because, like I said, the competition is higher. And realistic, I think top 8 should be double because I feel like I'm in a good shape. And basically, like, if I reach top 4, I will be more than happy.
Yeah, well, picking up set 1 is already putting you well on the way to, at the very least, a top 8, if not a top 4. When you take a look at the rest of the fields, like you said, I mean, every single player in this tournament is a threat, for sure.
Every single one.
But who do you see as your stiffest competition? Who are you maybe most nervous to go up against?
I would say like Hera performs really good against me, and more like on 9 Villese Star we have faced, I think 2-3 times, and he has won every single set. So I think he can counters me really well. So probably Hera is my toughest opponent.
One more question for you, just as it popped into my head, and without revealing too much of your own strategy.
Yeah.
The idea that the way picks and bans are working here in this tournament, every day we're adding bans, so it's going to really change the way I think that Civ strength is evaluated and stuff. Do you feel confident in your ability to adapt from day to day to day, knowing that all this, tomorrow there's a ban on each side. The day after that, 2 bans on each side. How deep is your pool? How confident are you that as some of these really top tier picks get removed, you know what the proper civ is for each map?
I have a couple of civs for every map, so I feel like we are prepared for that as well. Like we have training like different amount of bans on the practice sessions, so I feel like it's really interesting that we will see a lot of bans, and it's gonna change a lot how probably the same map will be played.
Yeah.
Because when there will be like fast civilization on one map, then suddenly there will be a slow civilization, and the strategy won't be the same. So I think that's the interesting part, and I really think that preparation is really important. More now that the sets are like you said, like every set will have more bans. So I think it will be super interesting.
Let the mind games begin. Well, TaToH is a long, hard-fought 5-game series, so I'm going to let you go. Get hydrated. Settle down on the couch for the
Thank you so much.
series. We've got 3 more series coming your way, everybody. I think we're going to hit some replays real quick.